Have you ever felt it? A whisper of reality, just beyond your senses. A silent, unseen force shaping the very fabric of your life. It's a feeling that comes in the quiet moments, perhaps in the hushed stillness just before dawn, or in the profound silence of a forest. A sense that there is more to this world than what our eyes can see, more to our existence than the simple sequence of cause and effect. What if this feeling wasn't just a fleeting fantasy? What if it was an invitation? A call from the universe itself to awaken to a power you have always possessed but were never taught how to use. For too long, humanity has operated under the illusion of separation, believing ourselves to be small, fragile beings, adrift in a vast, indifferent cosmos. We live in a world of noise, a relentless barrage of external voices from society, from the media, from our own conditioned fears, all telling us who we should be, what we should want, and what we are capable of. This constant noise has drowned out the most important voice of all, the voice of our inner wisdom. We feel trapped, reacting unconsciously to the circumstances that life throws at us, living as effects rather than as causes. We feel a deep, gnawing hunger for meaning, for purpose, for a sense of control over our own destiny. Yet we search for it in all the wrong places, outside of ourselves, in achievements, in possessions, in the approval of others. But the map to this hidden treasure, the key to unlocking your own magnificent power, has always been within you. It lies in the understanding of a timeless, ancient wisdom, a set of universal laws that govern not just the stars and the planets, but also the intricate workings of your own mind and consciousness. This is the realm of hidden metaphysics, the profound truth that your inner world of thoughts, feelings, and beliefs is the master architect of your outer world. This knowledge, once guarded in secret schools and passed down through generations of mystics and sages, is no longer hidden away in dusty scrolls or inaccessible texts. In our modern age, this life-altering wisdom has been reborn, distilled into its most potent form and made available through a medium perfectly suited for our busy lives. The audiobook. This is not just a video. It is an invitation to an auditory journey, a pilgrimage of the mind. Together, we will explore the great audiobooks that unlock the secrets of the law of attraction, the boundless power of the subconscious mind, and the subtle messages the universe is sending you every single day. Prepare to leave behind the world of the mundane and step into the realm of the miraculous. Prepare to learn not just how to live, but how to master your life. Let us begin our journey, not by looking out at the vast expanse of the cosmos, but by turning our attention inward, to an equally vast and mysterious universe that resides within each of us. For within your mind, there are not one, but two distinct and powerful entities at play. There is the mind you know, the one you are using to process these words, the one that worries about the future and analyzes the past. This is your conscious mind, the captain standing on the bridge of your ship, looking out at the sea, making decisions and giving orders. But beneath the deck, in the immense, silent engine room, there is another mind, a silent giant, a tireless worker who keeps the entire vessel running. This is your subconscious mind, the unseen architect of your life. This architect is the most powerful force you will ever encounter. Yet most of us go through our entire lives without ever meeting it, without ever understanding its language, or realizing that it is we who provide it with the blueprints for everything it builds. It is the master weaver at the loom of your existence, and the threads it uses are your deepest beliefs, your most ingrained assumptions, and your most habitual feelings. Every single thing in your reality, the state of your health, the balance in your bank account, the quality of your relationships, the very opportunities that seem to fall into your lap or stubbornly elude you, are the direct, physical manifestation of the work of this unseen architect. To master your life, you must first come to know this architect and learn how to consciously hand it the designs for the palace you wish to live in, instead of allowing it to continue building the hovel of your past programming by default. The conscious mind, the captain on the bridge, is the realm of logic, reason, and will. It is the part of you that sets goals, that learns new information, that can hold a thought and analyze it from different angles. It is undeniably powerful, but it is also profoundly limited. Think of it like the RAM in a computer. It can only handle a handful of operations at any given time. Your conscious mind can focus on reading this sentence, but it cannot simultaneously solve a complex mathematical equation and compose a symphony. It gets tired. It needs rest, and it is easily distracted. Its most critical function, the one that holds the key to everything, is not to do all the work, but to be the gatekeeper. It stands at the gateway to the vast, fertile garden of your subconscious mind, and its job is to decide which seeds are allowed to enter. Every thought you think, every opinion you accept from others, every news story you internalize, is a seed that the conscious mind can either accept or reject. If it accepts the seed, it is dropped into the fertile soil of the subconscious, where the real work begins. This is where willpower so often fails. You can consciously decide, with all the willpower in the world, that you want to be confident and successful. But if the garden of your subconscious is already choked with the weeds of self-doubt and a fear of failure, planted there long ago, your single, conscious seed of confidence stands little chance. The captain can shout full speed ahead, but if the crew in the engine room has been programmed for decades to keep the ship in a safe, familiar, and stagnant harbor, the captain's orders will be met with a powerful, invisible resistance. Now, let us venture below deck, into the magnificent, sprawling engine room of the subconscious mind. Unlike the conscious mind, the subconscious is limitless in its capacity. It is the hard drive of your being, and it has recorded every single sight, sound, smell, taste, and feeling you have ever experienced. Every memory, every joy, every trauma is stored here perfectly. It is the genius that keeps your heart beating over 100,000 times a day, that manages the intricate chemical ballet of your digestion, that heals a cut on your finger, all without a single conscious instruction from you. It works 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, from the moment you are born until your very last breath. But here is its most crucial characteristic, the feature that makes it either your greatest ally or your most formidable foe. The subconscious mind is entirely non-judgmental and non-analytical. It does not have a sense of humor. It does not understand sarcasm. It accepts whatever is given to it by the conscious mind as absolute truth, as a direct command. It is a loyal and unimaginably powerful servant that does not question the orders of its master. If the conscious mind, the gatekeeper, repeatedly allows thoughts of poverty, sickness, and loneliness to pass through, the subconscious accepts these as the blueprint. It says, the master wishes to experience lack and illness and isolation. My job is to make that happen. And so it sets about its work, subtly influencing your perceptions, guiding your small choices, attracting circumstances, and creating a physical reality that perfectly matches the blueprint it was given. It is not punishing you. It is simply serving you with flawless precision. So, the critical question becomes, where did the initial blueprints come from? For most of us, the foundational programs running our lives were not chosen by us at all. They were installed before we had a conscious gatekeeper to filter them. From birth until the approximate age of 7, a child's brain operates predominantly in theta brainwave states, which is a state of superlearning, a state akin to hypnosis. In these formative years, We are like open-source computers with no firewall. We absorb the world around us directly into our subconscious. The beliefs of our parents about money, their relationship with each other, the way they spoke about work or health. All of it was downloaded as fundamental truth. The opinions of our teachers, the attitudes of our culture. A single offhand comment from a classmate that made us feel ashamed or inadequate. All of it was accepted as a command, a piece of the blueprint. If you grew up hearing money is the root of all evil, or you have to work brutally hard to get by, that became a program. If you experienced love as conditional or painful, that became your program for relationships. We are, for the most part, living out the second-hand beliefs of others, mistaking them for our own identity. We walk around as adults, wondering why we struggle with the same patterns, the same self-sabotage, the same limitations, never realizing that we are simply a machine executing an old, outdated program. But here is the glorious news: you are the programmer, and you can write a new program anytime you choose. To do this, you must learn to speak the language the architect understands. The subconscious does not respond well to dry, logical instructions. It is the realm of the primal, the mythic, the emotional. Its native tongue is the language of imagery and feeling. A picture is truly worth 1,000 words to the subconscious mind when you visualize yourself succeeding. When you create a vivid, detailed mental movie of your desired outcome, you are handing the architect a clear, irresistible blueprint. The second, and perhaps most vital, part of this language is emotion. Emotion is the fuel. It is the electricity that charges the blueprint and commands the universe to pay attention. You cannot simply say, "I am wealthy," with a mind full of doubt and a body tense with financial anxiety. The architect receives the vibration of your feeling, not the hollow vibration of your words. You must feel the gratitude, the relief, the joy of your desire fulfilled. Repetition is the final key. A single command can be lost in the noise of decades of old programming, but a command that is repeated with feeling, day after day, begins to carve a new neural pathway in the brain. It wears down the old beliefs and lays the foundation for a new reality. In his seminal audiobook, The Power of Your Subconscious Mind, Dr. Joseph Murphy tells countless stories illustrating this principle in action. One such story involves a salesperson who was struggling mightily. His days were filled with anxiety. His mind was a constant loop of fear of rejection, and his results reflected this inner turmoil. He learned of this great law, that his outer world was but a reflection of his inner conversation. So, he began a simple practice every single night, just before falling asleep, and every morning. Just upon waking, the 2 times when the conscious gatekeeper is drowsy and the veil to the subconscious is thinnest, he would relax his body and quietly, with as much feeling as he could muster, repeat a simple phrase. He would say something like, "My sales are improving every day. I am a brilliant success. I connect with my clients with ease. And I am rewarded abundantly and beautifully." At first, his conscious mind fought back, screaming, "You're a liar, look at your numbers." But he persisted. He knew he was not talking to his logical mind. He was speaking to the giant within. He was planting new seeds. Slowly, miraculously, things began to change. During the day, new ideas for prospecting would pop into his head. He found his posture changing, his voice becoming more confident. Clients who were once difficult suddenly became cooperative. He wasn't using a new sales script or a new closing technique. He was operating from a new inner blueprint. His unseen architect had received the new design, and with its infinite power and resources, it began to construct a reality that matched it perfectly. He had stopped being a victim of his circumstances and had become the master of his own mind. And so, we see that our life is not a random series of events, but a perfect mirror of our subconscious convictions. The architect is always at work, loyally and tirelessly building according to the plans it is given. It holds no prejudice. It plays no favorites. It will build a prison of lack just as faithfully as it will build a palace of abundance. The choice is, and always has been, yours. The architect stands ready. The tools are in its hands, waiting for your command. The critical question then becomes, what blueprints are we consciously choosing to give it? This brings us to the very substance of creation, the living, breathing building blocks of the entire universe. Our thoughts. Now that we have met the unseen architect, the powerful and obedient subconscious mind waiting for its instructions, we must turn to the materials from which it builds. We must examine the very substance of our reality, the raw material of creation itself, and that material is thought. For centuries, humanity has labored under a profound misunderstanding, believing that thoughts are private, ephemeral, weightless, nothings that exist only within the confines of our own skull. We have treated them as harmless fictions, intangible whispers in the ghost of the machine. This is perhaps the greatest illusion we have ever accepted, the hidden metaphysical truth, a truth that ancient wisdom has always known and that quantum physics is now beginning to prove, is that thoughts are not just things. They are the very things that create all other things. Every thought you think is a tangible pulse of energy, a real force that you are broadcasting into the universe. Imagine your mind as the center of a perfectly still cosmic pond. Every single thought, no matter how fleeting, is a pebble dropped into that pond, sending out ripples, waves of influence that travel outward and interact with everything. A casual, negative thought is a small pebble, creating a minor disturbance. But a thought that is held with intense emotion, a thought that is revisited time and time again, is a massive boulder, creating a tidal wave of creative force that will, with absolute certainty, return to you as a physical circumstance. To master your reality, you must move beyond seeing yourself as a thinker of thoughts and recognize yourself as a creator of worlds. For the quality of your thinking literally determines the quality of your life. To grasp this concept, we must first understand the fundamental nature of the universe. Modern science has shown us that when we look past the illusion of solid matter, when we peer down into the subatomic level of existence, there is nothing solid to be found. Everything you perceive is solid. The chair you are sitting on, the device you are using, your very body, is in reality composed of 99.9% empty space, populated by atoms which are themselves nothing more than vortices of energy, vibrating at an incomprehensible speed. The universe is not a collection of static things. It is a dynamic symphony of vibration. Everything, absolutely everything, is in a constant state of motion, of oscillation. This is the universal law of vibration. And just like a musical note, every object, every person, and every thought has a unique vibrational signature, a specific rate of oscillation. We call this rate its frequency. Think of the spectrum of light. A low frequency gives us the color red. A high frequency gives us the color violet. They are both light, but their different frequencies create entirely different expressions. The same is true for the energy of thought and emotion. At the lowest end of the spectrum, we find the dense, slow, heavy frequencies of fear, grief, depression, and shame. As we move up the scale, the frequency quickens, becoming lighter and faster, moving through anger, to hopefulness, to contentment, and finally to the highest, most rapid and powerful frequencies we can experience, those of love, joy, gratitude, and enlightenment. You are, at your core, a being of vibration, and the sum total of your dominant thoughts and feelings determines your overall personal frequency. You are a living, breathing, broadcasting tower. And the signal you send out is your personal song in the symphony of the cosmos. This leads us to the most practical and powerful law you can ever learn. The law of attraction, which is more accurately described as the law of resonance. This law states, simply, that like attracts like, vibrations of a similar frequency are drawn to one another. The most effective analogy is that of a tuning fork. If you have two tuning forks that are both tuned to the note of middle C, and you strike one of them, setting it vibrating, the other tuning fork across the room will, by itself, begin to vibrate in sympathy. It has no choice. It is resonating with a frequency that matches its own. It cannot, however, respond to a tuning fork tuned to the note of A. Their frequencies are dissimilar. They are not in resonance. Your life works in exactly the same way. You are a human tuning fork, and the note you are constantly emitting is determined by your dominant emotional state, your vibrational set point. When you consistently hold the vibration of fear, you cannot resonate with the frequency of courage. When you vibrate with the feeling of resentment, you are vibrationally deaf to the frequency of forgiveness and peace. When your dominant broadcast is one of scarcity, of not enough, you literally cannot perceive or attract the opportunities, the people, and the circumstances that exist on the frequency of abundance. They are in the room with you, just like the A-note tuning fork. But you are not, and cannot be, a vibrational match to them. This is why you do not get what you want in life. You get what you are. You do not attract what you desire with your conscious mind. You attract what you are with your vibrational being. Your job is not to chase after the things you want, but to become a vibrational match to the things you want, so they are drawn to you by an irresistible, universal law. Therefore, the thoughts we think and the emotions we feel are not separate activities. They are inextricably linked in a feedback loop that generates our vibrational signature. A thought, by itself, is a mental blueprint. It has potential, but it is largely inert. It is emotion that acts as the amplifier, the fuel that gives the thought its power and broadcasts it out into the universe. Consider the desire for more financial abundance. One person can think the thought, I want more money, but their underlying emotional state is one of desperate need, of fear, of looking at bills with a knot in their stomach. Their thought says abundance, but their feeling, their actual vibrational broadcast, is screaming, lack, lack, lack. The universe, which responds not to your words but to the frequency of your being, faithfully responds by sending more circumstances that match the vibration of lack, more bills, more unexpected expenses, more reasons to feel desperate. Now, consider another person. They think the same thought. I want more money. But they have learned to manage their vibration. They deliberately attach the feeling of excitement, of possibility, of gratitude for the money they do have. They feel the thrill of what they will do with that abundance. Their broadcast is one of wealth, of prosperity, of ease. The universe, again, responds faithfully, bringing them ideas, opportunities, and resources that are a perfect match to that prosperous vibration. The thought was the same, but the emotional fuel, the vibrational frequency, was worlds apart. And so were the results. In the profound teachings of Abraham, channeled by Esther Hicks in the audiobook Ask and It Is Given, this principle is the central theme. They tell stories of individuals trapped in cycles of debt and worry. Their entire focus, their entire vibrational offering, was on their unwanted reality. They would look at their empty bank account and their dominant vibration was scarcity. They would get a bill in the mail and their dominant vibration was fear. The teachings guided them not to ignore their reality, but to find a way, any way, to shift their point of attraction, to change the note of their tuning fork, even for a few minutes a day. The process was not to magically pretend the bills didn't exist, but to deliberately find things to feel good about. It might be something as simple as savoring the taste of a hot cup of coffee, feeling deep appreciation for its warmth and aroma. In that moment of pure appreciation, their vibration was not one of lack, but of abundance. It might be taking a walk in nature and feeling genuine gratitude for the beauty of a tree or the warmth of the sun. In that moment, their vibration was peace, not anxiety. They were encouraged to celebrate the smallest of financial wins, even finding a penny on the street, and to feel the feeling of I am a magnet for money. By accumulating these small moments of deliberate vibrational shifting, they began to change their dominant frequency. And as their song changed, the symphony around them had to change in response. An idea for a new income stream would suddenly appear. An old debt would be unexpectedly forgiven. A new opportunity would present itself out of the blue. These were not random acts of luck. They were the inevitable consequence of changing the broadcast, of tuning their personal radio dial from the static-filled station of scarcity to the crystal-clear broadcast of well-being and abundance. A station that was playing all along, just waiting for them to tune in. Thus, we arrive at a powerful realization. We are not just thinkers. We are broadcasters. We are not victims of a random world. We are the creators of a resonant one. The universe is not punishing or rewarding you. It is simply reflecting you. It is a mirror, showing you the precise nature of your own vibrational output. Your work, then, is to become a conscious custodian of your energy, a deliberate tuner of your own frequency. You must begin to pay attention not just to what you are thinking, but to how you are feeling. For your feelings are the true indicator of your point of attraction. So, if our thoughts and feelings create the vibration that shapes our world, how do we consciously and deliberately choose these thoughts? Especially when our external world seems chaotic and challenging. How do we hold the frequency of peace in the middle of a storm? The secret to this does not lie in force or in struggle, but in the gentle and persistent art of deliberate focus. We have established that you are a being of vibration, a living broadcast tower sending out a signal that shapes your world. We have met the unseen architect within, your subconscious mind, who receives this signal as a divine blueprint. The question that logically follows is, how do we control the signal? In a world filled with endless distractions, how do we hold a clear, steady frequency of our own choosing? Rather than being tossed about on the chaotic waves of the collective consciousness, the answer lies in mastering the most fundamental, most powerful creative tool you possess: your focus. There is a simple, yet profoundly deep universal principle that states where attention goes, energy flows. Your attention is the lens through which the light of your consciousness streams into this world. It is the conduit for your life force. Whatever you choose to place under the lens of your attention, you are feeding it with your energy, nourishing it, magnifying it, and commanding it to expand in your life. Most people treat their attention like a leaky faucet, dripping precious life energy onto 1,000 different thoughts of worry, regret, and triviality throughout the day. A master of reality understands that their attention is a concentrated, high-pressure hose, and they have learned to aim it deliberately, with precision and power, only at the gardens they wish to grow. To control your life, you must first learn to control your focus. For what you focus on, you become. In our modern age, your attention has become the most valuable commodity in the world. Every notification on your phone, every headline, every advertisement is in a relentless battle to capture and monetize a piece of your focus. We speak of paying attention, and that is exactly what we are doing. We are paying with our life force. When your attention is fragmented, scattered across a dozen social media feeds, political outrages, and celebrity dramas, your energy becomes fragmented. Your power is dissipated. This is the state of passive attention, where you are not the director of your own mind, but merely a spectator. in a theater of someone else's design. This leads to a reactive life, a life of being pulled in 100 different directions, a life of feeling overwhelmed and powerless. The art of metaphysics, however, demands the opposite. It demands the cultivation of active, deliberate focus. This is the act of consciously choosing a single point of thought, a single image, a single feeling, and holding your attention there, gently but firmly, to the exclusion of all else. It is the difference between a light bulb that diffuses its light weakly across an entire room and a laser that concentrates that same energy into a single, powerful beam that can cut through steel. Your scattered thoughts are the light bulb. Your focused intention is the laser. Herein lies the great secret and the most common trap. The universe is an impartial amplifier. It does not judge what you focus on as good or bad. It simply responds to the energy of your attention. This is why so many people, despite their best intentions, seem to create the very circumstances they are trying to avoid. They spend their days focused on what they don't want. They look at their pile of bills and focus on their debt. They feel a pang of loneliness and focus on their lack of a partner. They feel a small symptom in their body and focus on the fear of illness. They are aiming the powerful hose of their attention directly at the weeds, drenching them with the life-giving energy of their focus. And then they wonder why the weeds are growing so tall and strong, choking out the flowers they claim to want. The universe does not process a negation. When you say, "I don't want to be in debt," the subject of your focus, the image you hold in your mind, the feeling you generate in your body, is debt. You are energizing the vibration of debt. You are telling your unseen architect, "More debt, please." This is a crucial understanding. You must turn your attention away from the unwanted reality and turn it towards the desired one. Instead of focusing on the absence of money, you must learn to focus on the feeling of abundance. Instead of dwelling on loneliness, you must cultivate the feeling of love and connection within yourself first. You must withdraw your energy from the picture of what is, if it is not what you want, and invest it wholly in the picture of what you wish to create. Of course, this is easier said than done. The human mind is naturally restless. It has been called the monkey mind, jumping from branch to branch without a moment's peace. To cultivate deliberate focus is to train this monkey. It is a practice, a discipline, a form of mental fitness. Two of the most powerful practices for this training are meditation and mindfulness. Meditation, in its simplest form, is the gym for your attention. When you sit and decide to focus on a single thing, such as the sensation of your own breath, you are not trying to stop your thoughts. That is impossible. You are simply practicing the art of returning. Your mind will wander. That is its nature. It will jump to your to-do list, to a conversation from yesterday, to a worry about tomorrow. Your job is not to get frustrated. Your job is simply to notice that the mind has wandered, and gently, without judgment, guide it back to the breath. Every time you do this, every time you guide your attention back, you have just completed one repetition, one bicep curl for your focus muscle. Over time, that muscle becomes stronger, and you gain more and more control over where you place your energy. Mindfulness is the application of this practice in your daily life. It is the act of bringing your full, undivided attention to the present moment. When you are drinking a cup of tea, you are not thinking about your next meeting. You are fully experiencing the tea, its warmth, its aroma, its taste. By anchoring your attention in the physical sensations of the now, you are pulling your energy back from the illusions of the past and the anxieties of the future, concentrating it in the only place where your power truly exists, this present moment. To aid in this practice, we can create physical anchors for our focus. This is the true power behind a tool like a vision board. A vision board is not a magical artifact that grants wishes. It is a strategic focus tool. It is a physical representation of your desired reality. designed to capture your attention and direct your energy throughout the day, without you having to consciously think about it. When you gather images of the home you want to live in, the health you want to experience, the relationships you want to cultivate, and you place them in a location where you will see them every single day, you are creating a powerful environmental trigger. Every glance at that board, even a fleeting one, is a non-verbal command to your subconscious mind. It's a gentle, repetitive whisper to the unseen architect, saying, "Remember this is the blueprint. This is where we are going." It keeps your goals and dreams at the forefront of your consciousness, preventing them from being drowned out by the noise of daily life. It acts as a compass for your focus, constantly reorienting you towards your true north. In her world-famous audiobook, The Secret, Rhonda Byrne highlights one of the most compelling stories of this principle in action, from the life of author and speaker Jack Canfield. At a time when he was earning a respectable but modest income, around $8,000 a year, he decided to set a goal so audacious it seemed laughable. He wanted to earn $100,000 in a single year. Understanding the power of focus, he took a dollar bill and, with a pen, wrote several zeros after the one, turning it into a $100,000 bill. But he didn't stop there. He created a clear, tangible focus point. He made a life-size check for $100,000, written to himself, and he taped it to the ceiling above his bed every single morning. The very first thing he saw upon opening his eyes was the physical proof of his accomplished goal. And every night, it was the last thing he saw before drifting off to sleep. This was not idle wishing. This was a rigorous, daily training of his attention. Every time he looked at that check, he was commanding his mind to focus on that reality. And he would take a few moments to imagine the feeling of having earned that money. That sustained focus was the laser beam. It began to spark ideas he'd never had before. It gave him the courage to take actions he previously would have shied away from. And that year, through a series of inspired actions, all born from his relentless focus, he earned just over $92,000. He didn't see this as a failure, but as proof that the process worked. The check was not a magic wand. The magic was in his unwavering, disciplined application of his own attention. So we see, your life is a direct reflection of what you consistently focus on. Your attention is the sacred currency of creation. You can either spend it carelessly on things that drain you and create more of what you don't want, or you can invest it wisely, deliberately, and powerfully in the vision of the life you desire. You are the director of your own mind. You choose the scenes you will focus on. You choose the story you will energize. Your focus, therefore, needs an object, a target. We can use images on a vision board, as we've discussed, but we can also use something far more immediate. Something we create from moment to moment with our own breath and being. We can use the power of the words we formulate in our minds and speak into the world. This brings us directly to the next layer of our creative power, the awesome, reality-bending force of the spoken word. We have established that your focus is the conduit of your creative power, of the lens through which you direct your life force. Now, we must examine the primary vessel for that focus, the tool we use every single moment to define our world, to ourselves and to others. We must speak of the power of the word. Since the dawn of human consciousness, ancient traditions have whispered of this power. They understood that words were not merely sounds or symbols, but were incantations, resonant frequencies that could heal or harm, build or destroy. The very act of spelling a word was understood to be casting a spell, a vibrational command sent out into the ether. In our modern, rational world, we have dismissed this as superstition. But in doing so, we have forgotten a profound metaphysical truth. Every word you speak, every sentence you formulate in the privacy of your own mind, is a decree. It is a chisel striking the marble of your life. It is a direct instruction given to your subconscious architect, and a declarative statement of your reality broadcast to the universe. Your words are not passive descriptors of your world. They are active creators of it. When you say, "I am so tired," your body's cells listen, and your energy levels obey. When you say, "This is going to be a difficult day," you have just placed an order with the cosmos for difficulty, and it will be faithfully delivered. To take command of your life, you must first take command of your language, and consciously choose the words that will sculpt the masterpiece you were born to live. This is not mere positive thinking. It is applied vibrational science. Every word carries its own unique energetic signature. The word love has been shown to have a harmonious, beautiful frequency, while the word hate carries a chaotic, discordant one. The pioneering work of Dr. Masaru Emoto with water crystals, while debated in some scientific circles, provides a stunningly beautiful metaphor for this principle. He demonstrated how water exposed to words and intentions of love, gratitude, and beauty formed exquisite, symmetrical, snowflake-like crystals, while water exposed to words of hate, fear, and discord formed ugly, distorted, and chaotic masses. Now, consider this: your body is over 70% water. Every word you speak, and more importantly, every word you consistently repeat in your inner dialogue, is programming the very water that makes up your cells. You are either creating a harmonious, crystalline inner environment conducive to health and vitality, or a chaotic, distorted one, conducive to stress and disease. On a neurological level, this is the proven science of neuroplasticity. Your brain is not a static, fixed organ. It is constantly rewiring itself based on your experiences and your thoughts. When you repeatedly think and speak words of lack, failure, and limitation, you are physically strengthening the neural pathways associated with those states. You are literally building a superhighway in your brain for negativity, making it the fastest and easiest thought pattern to access. An affirmation, therefore, is a conscious act of neurological and vibrational engineering. It is the deliberate act of choosing a new destination and beginning to build a new road to get there. To build this new road effectively, your affirmations must be constructed with precision. A poorly formed affirmation is like a key that almost fits the lock. It creates frustration, not results. A powerful affirmation, one that speaks directly to the subconscious mind and the universe, follows a specific formula. First, it must be positive. It must be stated in terms of what you want, not what you wish to avoid. The subconscious does not process negatives well. "I am no longer in debt" is a terrible affirmation because the focus word is still debt. A far more powerful construction is "I am financially abundant and money flows to me easily and frequently." You are focusing on the desired state. Second, it must be in the present tense. This is perhaps the most critical rule. Your subconscious mind knows only one time now. If you say, "I will be confident," you are programming your reality to keep confidence perpetually in the future, always just beyond your grasp. You must claim it as your current identity. "I am confident, poised, and articulate in all situations." You are decreeing what is true for you at this very moment. Third, it must be personal. It must begin with the most powerful creative words in your vocabulary. "I am." This statement connects the desired quality directly to your sense of self, to your very being. It is not an abstract wish. It is a declaration of identity. Finally, and this is the element that ignites the entire process, it must be emotionally charged. You must feel the feeling of the wish fulfilled as you speak the words. Robotic, mindless repetition is of little value. The words are the vehicle, but the emotion is the fuel. This brings us to the single greatest reason why affirmations fail for so many people. They encounter the wall of incongruence. A person stands in front of the mirror, looking at a life that feels like it's falling apart. And they repeat the words, "I am happy, wealthy, and whole." But as they speak, their entire being is screaming in rebellion. Their body is tense with anxiety. Their heart feels the ache of loneliness. And their mind is replaying a list of all the evidence to the contrary. In this scenario, what is the dominant vibration being broadcast to the universe? It is not the hollow frequency of the words, but the overwhelming, powerful frequency of their contradictory emotional state. The subconscious architect listens to the feeling, not the lie. It's like trying to convince a computer to run a new program by simply reading the code aloud while the old, corrupted software is still running at full capacity. For your words to take root, you must create a state of emotional receptivity. This doesn't mean you have to believe it 100% at first, but you must be willing to suspend your disbelief, even for 60 seconds. You must find a sliver of genuine feeling, a spark of hope, a flicker of gratitude, a hint of excitement, and wrap your words in that emotion. This is how you bypass the cynical conscious mind and plant the seed directly into the fertile soil of the subconscious. A more advanced and profoundly immersive technique for this is known as scripting. This is the art and science of writing your new reality into being. Instead of just repeating a single phrase, you sit down with a journal and write out your ideal day, or week, or even a scene from your future. But you write it in the past tense, as if it has already happened, and you are joyfully recording the memory. For example, I am so incredibly grateful for the way this day unfolded. I woke up this morning feeling so refreshed and energized in my beautiful home. The creative ideas I had during my morning meditation were absolutely brilliant. And when I opened my email, I was thrilled to see 2 new ideal clients had signed up for my program. My meeting this afternoon was a resounding success. I felt so confident and articulate, and the connection I made was powerful. The evening ended with a wonderful, loving dinner with my partner, feeling so connected and appreciated. As you write, you are not just thinking words. You are engaging your imagination. You are constructing a sensory experience. You are feeling the gratitude, seeing the email, hearing the praise, tasting the food. You are immersing your subconscious mind in the finished picture, allowing it to experience the reality you wish to create before it has physically manifested. This is one of the most powerful ways to align your thoughts, words, and emotions into a single, coherent, creative command. In his groundbreaking audiobook, What to Say When You Talk to Yourself, Dr. Shad Helmstetter provides the practical, day-to-day application of this principle. He illuminates the fact that we are all practicing affirmations every single moment, whether we realize it or not. The constant, running commentary in our heads, our self-talk, is a stream of programming going directly into our subconscious. For many, that stream is toxic. It's the inner critic that whispers, "You're not good enough. You'll probably mess this up. Who do you think you are to try that, doctor?" Helmstetter teaches that you cannot simply fight this voice or will it to go away. You must consciously and deliberately replace its programming with a new one. It is the act of becoming the vigilant gatekeeper of your own mind. When the old, negative thought appears, you notice it without judgment, and then you consciously introduce its powerful, positive opposite. The thought, "I can't handle this pressure," is immediately and consciously replaced with, "I am calm and centered under pressure, and I handle all challenges with ease and grace." The thought, "I always mess up relationships," is replaced with, "I am a loving and worthy partner, and I attract and maintain healthy, joyful relationships." This is not about lying to yourself. It is about telling your mind a new, more powerful truth, and repeating it with enough consistency that you build a new neural pathway, a new default belief. It is about seizing the helm of your inner conversation. In the end, your words are the brushes, and your mind is the canvas. Every day, you are painting the portrait of your future self, of your future life. Are you using bold, vibrant, powerful strokes of I am, I can, and I have? Or are you using the faded, hesitant, gray strokes of I can't, I wish, and I hope? The choice is yours in every moment. Your language is not just a tool for communication. It is a tool for creation. Use it with reverence. Use it with intention. Use it to speak your desired world into existence. Yet, as we stand here, with our minds focused and our words chosen, we must acknowledge that there is one final, essential element required to breathe life into our creations. The words may be the chisel, but what is the force of the mallet that drives it deep into the stone of reality? That force, the language the universe understands above all others, is the undeniable, alchemical power of human emotion. We have explored the power of a focused mind and the creative command of the spoken word. We have learned to aim our attention like a laser and to craft our affirmations with the precision of a master architect. But now we arrive at the very heart of creation, the sacred fire that forges thought into reality, the alchemical agent that turns the lead of imagination into the gold of experience. We arrive at the most potent, most misunderstood, and most essential element of all emotion, for it is here, in the vibrant, resonant chambers of the human heart, that the true language of the universe is spoken, the secret that all great masters have known, the truth at the core of every mystical tradition. Is this feeling, is the secret. Your thoughts may be the blueprints, your words may be the orders, but your feelings are the irresistible magnetic force that draws the substance of the universe to you. You can have the most perfect blueprint and the clearest orders, but without the power of feeling, they remain inert, lifeless, and unfulfilled. The universe does not respond to what you want. It responds to who you are being, and who you are being is determined, moment to moment, by what you are feeling. Let us be clear about what emotion is from a metaphysical perspective. It is not merely a psychological reaction to external events. Emotion is energy in motion. It is a tangible, measurable, vibrational, and electromagnetic broadcast. Modern science has confirmed that the human heart generates an electromagnetic field that is up to 5,000 times more powerful than the field generated by the brain. When you feel a powerful emotion, you are literally sending out a wave of energy from your heart that permeates every cell of your body and radiates outward into the world around you. This is the signal that the universe reads. The universe does not speak English, or Spanish, or Mandarin. It speaks the universal, unambiguous language of frequency, and that frequency is conveyed through feeling. A prayer is not the words you recite. A prayer is the feeling of faith and gratitude you embody. A desire is not the thing you name. It is the feeling of joy and excitement you generate. You can repeat the words "I am peaceful" 1,000 times. But if your body is vibrating with the chaotic frequency of anxiety, the only signal being received is one of anxiety. And the universe, in its infinite and impersonal wisdom, can only return to you more circumstances that match that anxious vibration. To create deliberately, you must learn to generate the feeling of your wish fulfilled, independent of your current circumstances. This brings us to the most critical distinction in the entire creative process: the vast, cavernous difference between the vibration of wanting something and the vibration of already having it. This is the stumbling block where most aspirants fall. To want something, at its energetic core, is to be in a state of acknowledging its absence. When you want more money, you are typically focused on the bills you cannot pay, on the things you cannot afford. The feeling is one of lack, of need, of desperation. You are a tuning fork vibrating at the note of scarcity. And so, the law of resonance can only bring you more experiences that match that note. You are, in essence, praying for the continuation of your lack, and the universe is faithfully answering your prayer. The great mystics, like Neville Goddard, taught a radical alternative. They taught that you must assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. You must dare to move in your imagination and your heart, from the state of wanting to the state of having. You must ask yourself the pivotal question: how would I feel if my desire were already a reality? Would you feel a profound sense of relief? Would you feel ecstatic joy? Would you feel a quiet confidence and security? That feeling, that specific emotional signature, is the creative cause. Your job is not to beg the universe for your desire, but to give the universe the feeling of your desire already being here. Now, you must fall in love with the feeling of your dream come true so completely that its physical manifestation is the only possible outcome. This may sound daunting. How can one feel wealthy when the bills are piling up? How can one feel loved when one feels so alone? This is the great work. It is the practice of becoming an emotional alchemist. A helpful tool in this process is the concept of the emotional guidance scale, as taught by Abraham Hicks. Imagine a ladder with 22 rungs. At the very bottom are the lowest frequencies: fear, grief, despair, powerlessness. At the very top are the highest: joy, love, appreciation, empowerment. Your emotions are an infallible GPS, telling you exactly where you are on this ladder at any given moment. When you feel bad, it simply means you are focused on and vibrating in harmony with something you do not want. When you feel good, you are vibrating in harmony with what you do want. The secret is not to try and jump from the bottom rung of despair to the top rung of joy in a single leap. That is nearly impossible and often leads to more frustration. The art is simply to reach for a better feeling. Thought: if you are in despair, reaching for anger is actually a step up the ladder. Anger has more energy, more power than despair. If you are in anger, reaching for blame might feel slightly better. From blame, you might reach for frustration. From frustration, you can find hope. From hope, you can find optimism. From optimism, you can find joy. It is the process of gently, deliberately, and consciously talking yourself up the emotional scale, one rung at a time. It is about being kind to yourself and choosing thoughts that offer you even a small measure of relief, because that relief is a sign that you are shifting your frequency in the right direction. The master teacher of this principle was undoubtedly Neville Goddard, and his audiobooks are filled with powerful, real-life case studies. One of his most famous stories involves a young woman who deeply desired to be married but saw no prospects in her life. She came to Neville, and he did not instruct her to write affirmations or to create a vision board. He gave her a single, powerful instruction rooted entirely in feeling. He told her, "You must not go to sleep tonight as a single woman who desires to be married. You must go to sleep tonight as a married woman." He asked her to imagine a simple, physical act that would imply her wish was already a fact. They decided on the act of feeling a wedding band on her left hand. His precise instructions were for her to lie in her bed, relax, and in her imagination, to bring her imaginary left hand up and feel the presence of a wedding ring on her finger. She was not to visualize it from a distance, but to feel it from the inside, as a tangible reality. She was to feel its smoothness, its solidity, its gentle pressure on her finger. He told her to repeat this imaginary action over and over until it felt real, until she drifted off to sleep in the absolute conviction, in the feeling, that she was a beloved, married woman. She followed his instructions faithfully, night after night. She fell asleep, feeling the ring on her finger. She was generating the emotional signature of her desire fulfilled. A short time later, in a series of events that she could never have predicted or forced, she met a man. They fell deeply in love, and he proposed on their wedding night. As he slipped the physical gold band onto her finger, she recalled its imaginary counterpart, realizing she had first placed it there herself, in the workshop of her own feeling state. But so you see, The creative process is a journey of the heart. Your mind may identify the destination, but it is your heart that fuels the vehicle and carries you there. Your feelings are the prayer, the command, the magnetic force. They are the bridge between the unseen world of thought and the seen world of form. Therefore, your most important work is to become the master of your inner emotional landscape. It is to learn how to generate feelings of love, gratitude, and joy on command. Not because the world has given you a reason to, but because you have decided that these feelings are your natural state of being. You must practice feeling the relief before the solution arrives, feeling the gratitude before the gift is received, feeling the love before the lover appears. This is the essence of faith. It is the unwavering conviction in the reality of the unseen. Now, once you have done this sacred work, once you have successfully generated the feeling of the wish fulfilled, a new question arises. What do you do next? The answer is as simple as it is difficult. You do nothing. You let go. After you have placed your order with the universe, you do not follow the waiter into the kitchen to tell the chef how to cook. You trust the process. This brings us to the final, graceful act of creation, the art of allowing. We have journeyed through the inner landscapes of the mind, focus, and the spoken word. Arriving at the sacred altar of feeling, we have learned to generate the precise emotional signature of our desire fulfilled, to send a clear, powerful, and coherent signal into the quantum field. And now, at this pinnacle of creative effort, we encounter the great paradox of creation, the step that feels like a contradiction but is, in fact, the final, crucial catalyst. Having done everything in your power, the last step is to do nothing at all. You must learn the graceful, and often challenging, art of letting go. This is the art of allowing, the conscious act of surrender. It is not the surrender of giving up on your dream, but the surrender of giving up your anxious or fearful control over how and when that dream will manifest. Imagine you are a master archer. You have chosen your target with clarity. You have selected your finest arrow. You have pulled back the bowstring with all your strength. Your focus absolute. Your aim true. You have done your part. Now, if you release, in that moment of release, the arrow flies. Your work is done. You do not run after the arrow, trying to steer it with your hands mid-flight. To do so would be absurd. It would only disrupt its perfect trajectory. You trust the laws of physics, the integrity of the arrow, and the truth of your aim. You allow it to find its mark. So it is with your desires. Once you have launched your intention with focused thought and powerful feeling, you must let it go. You must surrender it to a higher intelligence and trust the process. This is where the real inner work begins for many, because it is here that we encounter the insidious force of resistance. Resistance is the mental and emotional static we generate after we have sent out our clear signal. It is the torrent of anxious questions that floods the mind. When will it happen? Is it working? Did I do it right? Maybe I should try harder. What if it doesn't come? Every one of these questions is a contradictory vibration. It is a second prayer that cancels out the first. It is a statement of doubt. It is telling the universe, I sent you my order, but I don't actually trust you to deliver it. So I'm going to stand here and worry, and try to micromanage your infinite logistical system. This need to control, this impatience, this doubt, is the energetic equivalent of planting a beautiful seed in fertile ground, and then digging it up every 10 minutes to see if it has sprouted. You are killing your own creation with your anxiety. The signs of resistance are easy to spot because they feel bad. Stress is resistance. Impatience is resistance. Frustration, desperation, and worry are all forms of resistance. They are all emotional indicators that you have stopped trusting the process and have reverted to the ego's limited belief that you, with your finite understanding, I must figure it all out and make it happen through force and struggle. The art of allowing is the conscious decision to release this resistance, to exhale the anxiety, and to step back into a state of peaceful, expectant trust. This does not mean you are to become passive and inert for the rest of your life. It means you must learn to differentiate between two profoundly different kinds of action: forced effort versus inspired action. Forced effort is action born from resistance. It comes from a place of fear, doubt, and lack. It's the feeling that you have to make something happen. It feels heavy, like a grind, like pushing a boulder uphill. It is making that sales call with a knot in your stomach because you're afraid you won't make rent. It is forcing yourself to go on a date because you're terrified of being alone. This kind of action is often counterproductive, as it is saturated with the very vibration of lack you are trying to escape. Inspired action, on the other hand, is the universe's response to your surrendered intention. It is the knock on the door after you have placed your order. Inspired action feels completely different. It feels light, joyful, effortless, and exciting. It often comes as a sudden, spontaneous urge. It's the idea that pops into your head while you're in the shower to call an old friend who, it turns out, has the perfect contact you need. It's the sudden desire to take a different route home from work, where you discover a new shop or meet someone significant. It's the creative solution that downloads into your mind when you are relaxed and not thinking about the problem at all. Inspired action is the universe showing you the next logical step. It is the path of least resistance opening up before you. The art of allowing is to relax and quiet your mind enough to be able to hear these gentle nudges, and to have the faith to act on them when they arrive, without hesitation. It is a dance between doing your inner work and then waiting patiently and joyfully for the external cue to take the next step. Cultivating this state of surrender requires practice. It requires that you develop a deep and abiding faith in a universal intelligence that is far greater than your own egoic mind. You must come to understand that you are not the sole manager of this universe. Your job is simply to be the creator of the vision. To define the what, you must then relinquish the how to the master strategist, the universal mind that can see all possibilities, that knows the quickest, a most harmonious path, from where you are to where you want to be. Meditation is a primary tool for this, as it is the practice of quieting the fearful, controlling ego mind, creating the inner silence where the whispers of inspiration can finally be heard. Spending time in nature is another profound teacher of surrender. An oak tree does not struggle to become an oak tree. It does not worry if it is growing fast enough. A rose does not anxiously check its petals to see if they are beautiful enough. They simply are. They surrender to their own innate blueprint and to the rhythm of the seasons, trusting that the sun, the soil, and the rain will provide everything they need. By immersing yourself in nature, you entrain your own energy field to this vibration of effortless trust and graceful unfolding. There is a simple yet profound parable that perfectly illustrates this principle. A farmer wishes to have a harvest. He meticulously prepares the soil, removing weeds and stones. He selects the finest seed he can find. With focused intention, he plants the seed at the perfect depth. He waters it. He has now done everything within his power. His work of intention is complete. At this point, the wise farmer walks away. He surrenders the process to a power greater than himself. He trusts in the life force inherent within the seed. He trusts in the nourishment of the soil, the warmth of the sun, and the blessing of the rain. He knows, with absolute certainty, that the one thing that would guarantee a failed harvest would be to give in to impatience, to dig up the seed every day to check on its progress. Our desires are these seeds. We plant them with our thoughts and feelings, our subsequent worry, our need to see immediate results. Or constant questioning is the digging up of the seed. To allow is to have the faith of the farmer to plant, to trust, and to wait with peaceful expectation for the inevitable sprout. In his extraordinary audiobook, The Surrender Experiment, Michael A. Singer provides a modern testament to this law. He chronicles his personal decision to conduct a radical experiment for the rest of his life. He would ignore the fearful, preferential voice in his head and simply say yes to whatever life presented to him. He surrendered his personal desires and allowed the flow of the universe to guide his path. This profound act of allowing took him from a quiet man wanting only to meditate in the woods to becoming the CEO of a multi-billion-dollar software company. A journey he could never have planned or forced with his own limited ego. His life stands as irrefutable proof that when we surrender our narrow plans, the universe can deliver a reality far greater than we could ever imagine. Ultimately, the creative process is a divine partnership. It is a dance between your focused intention and your graceful surrender. You do your part with diligence and joy. You clarify your vision. You craft your words. You embody the feeling. And then, with a heart full of trust, you release it. You let go of the reins and allow the infinitely intelligent universe to orchestrate the symphony. You relax into the knowing that your desire is not only on its way, but it is taking the most perfect, harmonious, and often surprising path to reach you. This act of deep trust, this peaceful surrender, is not born from blind hope. It is built upon a foundational understanding. It is a faith fortified by the deep, intuitive, knowing that you are not separate from the universe you are trusting. You are a part of it. This realization leads us to our next great exploration, the understanding of our unbreakable connection to the entire cosmic web. We have journeyed to the edge of personal creation, learning to focus our minds, choose our words, embody our feelings, and finally, to surrender the outcome to a higher power. This act of surrender, this profound trust, requires a bedrock of faith to stand upon, and that bedrock is not a blind hope, but a deep, resonant understanding of the most fundamental truth of existence. It is the truth that dissolves all fear, heals all separation, and unlocks the door to infinite potential. It is the realization that you are not a separate entity, an isolated island of consciousness adrift in a cold, empty cosmos. You are an intricate, essential, and inseparable part of a vast, intelligent, and vibrant cosmic web. The greatest illusion you have ever been taught is the illusion of the separate self. The feeling of being an I trapped inside a physical body, looking out at a world that is other. This feeling of separation is the root of all fear, all competition, and all sense of lack. The journey to true mastery, therefore, is the journey home, the journey back to the realization of your own universality, the understanding that you are, and have always been, one with the all. For millennia, this has been the central message of the world's great mystics and sages, who, through deep introspection, all arrived at the same conclusion. They gave it different names: the Tao, Brahman, the mind of God, the Great Spirit, but the essence was always the same. There is only one underlying consciousness, one infinite field of energy, from which all things are born, and to which all things return. Today, the language of modern physics is beginning to echo this ancient wisdom. When physicists peer into the heart of matter, they do not find solid, separate building blocks. They find a shimmering, interconnected dance of energy. They speak of the quantum field, an invisible, omnipresent field of pure potentiality that underlies and connects everything in the universe. They have discovered the phenomenon of quantum entanglement, what Einstein called spooky action at a distance, where two subatomic particles, once connected, remain linked instantaneously, no matter how vast the distance separating them. If one particle changes its state, the other changes instantly, faster than the speed of light. This proves, on a fundamental level, that separation is an illusion. There is an unseen web that connects all things. You are not a drop of water in the ocean of the universe. The mystics and the physicists are now telling us the same thing you are, the entire ocean, expressing itself for a time as a single, beautiful drop. What, then, is the staggering implication of this truth? If you are one with this universal field, it means you are not separate from anything you desire. The health, the love, the wisdom, the abundance you seek are not out there somewhere to be chased down and acquired. They are simply different patterns, different frequencies of energy that already exist as possibilities within the quantum field that you are an inseparable part of. Creation, therefore, is not the act of pulling something from the outside world into your life. It is the act of using your focused consciousness, your unique point of awareness within the field, to select a possibility and activate it. Imagine the universal mind as an infinite, uncarved block of marble containing every sculpture ever conceived. Your focused thought and feeling act as the sculptor's hand, not creating the marble, but revealing the form that already exists within it as a potential. You do not need to struggle to get love. You must simply activate the frequency of love that is already woven into the fabric of your being. You do not need to fight for abundance. You must simply align yourself with the vibration of abundance. That is an inherent quality of an infinite universe. Your personal consciousness is the tuning fork that causes the specific frequency you hold to resonate and coalesce from the unseen field of potential into the seen world of physical experience. You are not a beggar asking for scraps from the universe's table. You are a co-creator with full access to the entire kitchen. This is a magnificent concept to grasp intellectually. But to truly transform your life, you must move beyond intellectual understanding and into direct, personal experience. You must feel your oneness. One of the most direct paths to this experience is through the practice of deep meditation. As you sit in silence and allow the restless chatter of your ego mind to subside, something magical begins to happen. The rigid boundaries of your physical self begin to soften. The distinction between the observer and the observed can start to blur. In these moments of profound stillness, you can experience a state of pure awareness, a sense of expansion where your consciousness is no longer confined to your body, but seems to fill the room, and then the world, and then the cosmos. This is the direct experience of your universal nature. Another powerful gateway is through a deep connection with nature. When you truly look at a flower, not just naming it, but observing its intricate design, et vibrant couleur, its silent, graceful existence, you can feel the same life force that animates the flower animating you. When you gaze at the night sky, overwhelmed by the sheer scale and majesty of the stars, the small, worried ego can dissolve into a sense of awe and connection to that vastness. The same intelligence that wheels the galaxies is the same intelligence that is beating your heart. In these moments, if you remember that you are not just in the universe. The universe is in you. In his allegorical audiobook, The Celestine Prophecy, James Redfield paints a vivid picture of this energetic reality. The story follows a character on a journey to Peru to uncover a series of ancient insights. These insights reveal that humanity is on the cusp of an evolutionary leap in consciousness. A central part of this awakening is learning to perceive the world not as a collection of solid objects, but as a dynamic interplay of energy. The characters learn to literally see the subtle energy fields, the auras, that surround all living things. They discover that when they focus their attention on a plant with genuine appreciation for its beauty, they can send their energy to it, causing the plant to become visibly more vibrant and lush. In return, the plant sends its energy back, nourishing the observer. They learn that human interactions are, at their core, energy exchanges. Arguments are revealed to be desperate struggles where one person tries to dominate and steal the energy of another. Conversely, a loving, supportive conversation creates a shared energy field that uplifts and empowers everyone involved. The story serves as a powerful parable, transforming the abstract idea of a universal energy field into a practical, observable reality. It teaches that our primary task is to fill ourselves with energy from an infinite source through meditation and connection with nature and beauty, so that we no longer need to steal it from others, but can instead overflow with energy, affecting everyone we meet in a positive way. When you truly integrate this truth of oneness, the entire paradigm of your life shifts. The desperate need to get, to achieve, to protect, and to hoard begins to dissolve, because you realize that you cannot be separate from that which you seek. How can you lack anything when you are intrinsically connected to everything? The universe ceases to be a cold, competitive marketplace and reveals itself as your own extended body. The success of another does not diminish you, for their success is a part of the whole, and you are a part of that whole. An act of kindness towards another is revealed to be an act of kindness towards yourself, as you are both expressions of the same consciousness. This profound understanding is the very foundation of trust and surrender. It changes the process of creation from one of frantic, fearful striving to one of joyful, graceful receiving. If all things are already yours in potential, then your only work is to become an open and willing vessel, ready to receive the good that is your eternal birthright. This brings us to the next essential art we must master on our journey, the art of becoming a gracious receiver. Having awakened to the profound truth of our oneness with the universal field, we are now faced with a powerful and life-altering question. If we are intrinsically connected to everything, if all possibilities of health, wealth, and love are already woven into the fabric of our being, then why do we so often experience lack and limitation? The answer is both simple and profound. The universe is in a constant state of giving, but we have forgotten how to receive. Imagine the cosmos as a magnificent, benevolent sun, ceaselessly radiating beams of light, love, and abundance in all directions. It does not pick and choose who is worthy of its warmth. It simply shines. We, however, spend much of our lives walking under a self-made umbrella of doubt, unworthiness, and resistance, wondering why we feel so cold and shadowed. The art of living a miraculous life is not about learning how to make the sun shine, but in finally learning how to put down the umbrella. It is about shifting your entire life orientation from one of chasing, striving, and hunting for scraps, to one of becoming a powerful magnet, a gracious receiver who stands with open arms, ready to accept the blessings that are your eternal birthright. The master key that unlocks the door to this state of receiving, the single most powerful frequency that aligns you with the universal flow of good, is the vibration of gratitude. Gratitude is not simply a polite platitude or a social courtesy. It is the ultimate creative force and the highest form of prayer. When you are in a state of genuine gratitude, you are sending out an unmistakable, powerful signal to the universe. That signal says, "Thank you. I acknowledge the good that is already in my life. I see it, I feel it, and I appreciate it." By the immutable law of resonance, the universe can only respond to this signal in one way: by sending you more things to be grateful for. Gratitude is the feeling of having already received. It is the emotional signature of an answered prayer. By feeling it before the physical manifestation, you are aligning yourself perfectly with your desire, collapsing the time and space between you and its fulfillment. The practice of gratitude actively rewires your brain and retrains your perception. It forces you to shift your focus away from what you lack and onto the abundance you already possess. Where your attention goes, your energy flows. By consistently focusing on your blessings, you energize them, you magnify them, and they begin to expand exponentially in your life. This is why a practice like keeping a gratitude journal is not a whimsical exercise, but a powerful tool of metaphysical engineering. The daily act of actively searching for treasures in your day, of writing down 3 or 5 things you are genuinely thankful for, is a declaration to yourself and to the cosmos that you are choosing to tune into the frequency of abundance. You are ceasing to be a detective for problems and becoming a treasure hunter for blessings. However, even with a heart full of gratitude, there is a deeper, more insidious block that prevents many from receiving the good that is trying to flow to them. It is the deep, subconscious wound of unworthiness. Many of us, due to our upbringing, past experiences, or societal conditioning, harbor a secret belief that we are not truly deserving of happiness, success, or unconditional love. This feeling of being unworthy acts like an invisible force field, deflecting the very miracles we are asking for. A person with a worthiness wound might win a large sum of money, only to lose it through a series of unlucky events. They might meet a loving and supportive partner, only to unconsciously sabotage the relationship, believing it's too good to be true. The universe is trying to deliver the gift, but the recipient's energy is screaming, "Return to sender, I am not worthy of this." You must understand this critical truth. Your worthiness is not conditional. It is not something you must earn through good deeds, hard work, or personal sacrifice. Your worth is absolute, inherent, and unconditional, simply by virtue of your existence. A star does not have to earn its right to shine. A flower does not have to prove its worth to bloom. You, as a unique and essential expression of the one universal consciousness, are infinitely worthy of all the good the universe has to offer. You do not need to become worthy. You simply need to remove the beliefs that are obscuring the truth of the worthiness that has been yours all along. Like any skill, receiving can be practiced and strengthened. You can build your receiving muscle by starting with the small things. Consider how you respond to a simple compliment. When someone praises your work or tells you that you look nice, what is your immediate, reflexive response for many? It is to deflect or diminish it. "Oh, it was nothing." Or, "This old thing, I got it on sale." This is a subtle act of rejecting a gift of positive energy. The new practice is to simply stop, breathe, look the person in the eye, and say, "Thank you. That's so kind of you to say." And to allow the warm feeling of the compliment to land in your heart. You are practicing receiving. When someone offers to buy you a coffee, or hold a door open for you, or give you a small gift, receive it with grace and open joy, seeing it as a wink from the universe, a confirmation that you are indeed supported and cared for. When you witness a beautiful sunset, consciously receive it as a personal gift of beauty from the cosmos. By celebrating and graciously accepting these small daily gifts, you are changing your energetic posture. You are moving from a closed-off stance of deflection to an open-armed stance of reception. You are retraining your nervous system and your subconscious mind, sending them the clear message, "I am now open for business. I am ready, willing, and worthy to receive gifts of all sizes." In her audiobook, The Magic, Rhonda Byrne offers a beautifully simple and profoundly effective ritual for cultivating this state of grateful receiving. It is the practice of the magic rock. The instruction is to find a small, smooth stone, one that fits comfortably in the palm of your hand. This will become your tangible link to the power of gratitude. Every single night, before you go to sleep, you are to hold this magic rock in your hand. As you hold it, you review the events of the day that has just passed, and you identify the single best thing that happened to you. It does not have to be a grand, earth-shattering event. It could be a warm conversation with a friend, a moment of laughter, the taste of a delicious meal, or a feeling of accomplishment from a completed task. Once you have identified it, you are to close your eyes, hold the rock, and bring that moment back to your mind as vividly as possible. Relive it. Feel the feelings you felt in that moment. And as you are immersed in that positive feeling, you say the magic words, "Thank you," with all your heart. This simple ritual is an incredibly powerful act of programming. It guarantees that the very last thoughts and feelings you have before you surrender to the subconscious shaping state of sleep are of the highest possible frequency. pure gratitude. You are closing your day by acknowledging a gift received, thereby priming the pump for more gifts to flow to you while you sleep and into the day that follows. Ultimately, the journey of mastery is a journey of opening. It is the realization that life is not a battle to be won, but a gift to be received. The universe is conspiring in your favor, constantly arranging circumstances and opportunities for your joy and expansion. Your only task is to align yourself with this flow, to open your heart in gratitude for what is, to heal the old wounds that tell you that you are not enough, and to stand in the quiet, powerful knowing of your own infinite worth. Let go of the need to chase, abandon the struggle to get, simply open, align, and allow. Become the gracious receiver you were born to be, and watch as the universe, which has been waiting patiently all along, and begins to shower you with miracles beyond your wildest imaginings. The question then naturally arises, who is this magnificent being who is so worthy, so open, and so ready to receive? To become an excellent receiver, we must first build a clear and powerful inner image of this new self. We must begin to embody the person we are becoming, which leads us directly to the profound alchemy of crafting our future self. We have explored the magnificent art of receiving, of opening our hearts with gratitude and acknowledging our inherent worthiness to accept the universe's boundless gifts. But this raises a vital question: who is the one who receives? Is it the old self, laden with the doubts and limitations of the past? Or is it a new, expanded version of you, for whom miracles are a natural and expected part of life? Here we arrive at the pinnacle of conscious creation, the most profound alchemy you will ever perform. It is based on a universal law that is both simple and world-altering. You do not attract what you want. You attract who you are. Your reality is not a reflection of your desires. It is a mirror of your identity. You can wish for abundance with all your might, but if your core identity is one of someone who struggles, you will continue to attract struggle. You can long for love, but if your identity is one of someone who is always left behind, you will attract abandonment. Therefore, the ultimate creative act is not the pursuit of external things, but the deliberate, conscious creation of a new self. It is the art of becoming, in this very moment, the person you have always dreamed of being. Your future self is not a distant destination you must travel to. It is a dormant reality within you, a vibrational costume waiting for you to step into it and bring it to life. The first step in this alchemical process is to define this future self with absolute, crystalline clarity. This cannot be a vague or hazy wish. You must create a detailed, multi-sensory blueprint for your unseen architect to work with. Take a moment to close your eyes and call forth this version of you, the one who is already living the life you desire. Ask yourself, who is this person? Go beyond the external possessions and circumstances and look into their being. What is their dominant emotional state throughout the day? Are they calm, confident, and centered? Are they joyful, playful, and filled with a sense of adventure? What are their core, unshakable beliefs about life? Do they believe that the universe is friendly, that everything always works out for their highest good, that they are worthy, loved, and capable of handling any challenge? Now, look at their habits. What does the future you do every day to cultivate this state of being? Do they meditate, exercise, eat nourishing food, read inspiring books, and dedicate focused time to their creative purpose? How do they carry themselves? Notice their posture, the look in their eye, the sound of their voice. Is it confident, open, and authentic? You must get to know this version of you so intimately that they become more real to you than the person you have been. This clear, detailed vision is the new identity you will begin to rehearse and embody. With this blueprint in hand, the practice begins. It is the practice of closing the gap between who you have been and who you are now choosing to be. This is achieved by living from the end, by making your choices not towards your desired future, but from it. The tool for this is a simple, Powerful question you must ask yourself countless times throughout the day. In every situation you face, what would the version of me who is already living my dream life do right now? When you are faced with a choice of what to eat, ask the question, would your healthy, vibrant future self choose the junk food or the nourishing meal? When you are tempted to procrastinate on an important project, ask the question, would your successful, disciplined future self scroll mindlessly through social media? Or would they engage with their work with focus and passion? When someone provokes you and you feel the urge to react with anger, ask the question, would your peaceful, emotionally intelligent future self get drawn into a petty argument? Or would they respond with grace and detachment? This question becomes your compass, your guide for every decision. This is the essence of the act as if principle. It is not about being fake or inauthentic. It is a conscious rehearsal. An actor preparing for a role will immerse themselves in the character, learning to walk, talk, and think like them until the portrayal is seamless. You must become the actor, and the role of a lifetime is your future self. By repeatedly choosing the actions, thoughts, and emotional responses of this new identity, you are sending a powerful and consistent new signal to your subconscious mind and to the universe. This process is not just psychological, it is deeply biological and neurological. Dr. Joe Dispenza, in his revolutionary audiobook, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, brilliantly explains the science behind this transformation. He teaches that our personality creates our personal reality. Your personality is simply a collection of how you think, act, and feel. Over time, these patterns become so routine that they sink into the subconscious mind and become automatic programs. We become a set of memorized behaviors, unconscious emotional reactions, and hardwired beliefs. To be caught in this loop is the definition of being stuck. To break the habit of being yourself means you must become more conscious than your programs. You must observe your old, limited self from a new level of awareness. The science of neuroplasticity proves that your brain can and does change every time you consciously interrupt an old, negative thought pattern and choose a new, empowering one. You are weakening an old neural connection and beginning to sprout a new one. Every time you refuse to act on an old, self-sabotaging impulse and instead choose the behavior of your future self, you are pruning old neurological hardware and installing a new operating system. By thinking, acting, and most importantly, feeling differently, day after day, you are literally changing your brain. You are building the neurological architecture that will support and sustain your new identity, making it your new default state of being. Dr. Joe Dispenza's own life story is perhaps the most powerful testament to this principle in existence. As a young man, he was involved in a catastrophic accident during a triathlon, where a truck hit him from behind, fracturing 6 of his vertebrae. He was left with a devastating diagnosis from multiple surgeons. His best-case scenario involved a complex surgery to implant a Harrington rod, which would almost certainly leave him with a lifetime of chronic pain and limited mobility. Faced with this grim future, he made a radical choice. He refused the surgery and decided he would attempt to heal his own spine using only the power of his mind. For hours every single day, he would lie down and embark on an arduous inner journey. He had to consciously go against the overwhelming signals of pain from his body. He began a process of mental reconstruction, visualizing his spine, vertebra by vertebra, and commanding it to heal. He soon realized that simple visualization wasn't enough. He had to embody a new consciousness. He had to become, in mind and spirit, a person with a perfectly healthy spine. This meant he could not allow his attention to waver every time his mind drifted to thoughts of pain, fear, or doubt. He had to lovingly but firmly bring it back to his intention. He had to make his inner vision of health more real than the external reality of his broken body. For weeks, he battled with his own mind, until he finally achieved a state where he could maintain this new consciousness. The result was what the medical world would call a miracle. In 10 weeks, without any medical intervention, he had completely healed his spine and was back on his feet. He had literally built a new body by building a new self. The profound lesson here is that the ultimate form of creation is not the acquisition of things, but the reconstruction of the self. You must fall so in love with the vision of your future self that you are no longer willing to tolerate the thoughts, behaviors, and emotions of your past self. You must begin to show up in the world as the person you are choosing to become, long before the evidence of that new reality has appeared in your life. This is the embodiment of faith. It is living in your future reality. Now, you must become the person who is worthy of the life you desire. And then that life, by universal law, must come to you. And so, as we bravely and consciously begin to step into the shoes of this magnificent new identity, we will inevitably find that the ghosts of our old self rise up to meet us. The old baggage, the limiting beliefs, the trapped emotional energy from past pains will surface, not to stop us, but to be finally seen, acknowledged, and released. This makes the journey of healing our past not a step backward, but an essential and empowering part of clearing the path for the future we are creating. As we bravely step into the radiant identity of our future self, a curious and predictable phenomenon occurs. In choosing to walk a new path, we inevitably stir the dust of the old one. As we raise our vibration, anything within us that is not in harmony with that new frequency begins to bubble to the surface to be seen, healed, and released. It can feel like taking 2 steps forward and 1 step back. You may feel a surge of confidence and clarity, only to be ambushed by an old fear or a familiar wave of sadness. This is not a sign that you are failing. It is a sign that you are succeeding. You are finally strong enough to face the ghosts of your past. Imagine your life as a magnificent ship, and your new identity is a powerful engine, ready to carry you to brilliant new shores. But for years, this ship has been held in place by heavy, unseen anchors lodged deep in the seabed of your past. These anchors are the unresolved pains, the limiting beliefs, and the trapped emotional energy from every difficult experience you have ever had. No matter how powerful your new engine is, if the anchors remain, you will only spin in circles, burning fuel and going nowhere. Therefore, the journey forward must, by necessity, include a journey back. Not to dwell in the past, but to dive deep, cut the anchor chains, and reclaim the lost pieces of your power so you can bring your whole, healed self into the glorious present. This trapped energy is not just a poetic metaphor. It is a literal reality within your biological system. Every time you experience an emotional trauma, a betrayal, a moment of deep shame, a sudden loss, and you do not have the tools or the safety to fully process and release the emotion, its energy becomes crystallized and stored in your body's cellular memory. The body, as they say, keeps the score. This trapped energy acts like a dam in a river, blocking the natural flow of your life force. Over time, these energetic blockages can manifest as physical ailments, chronic pain, anxiety, depression, and a host of self-sabotaging behaviors. Alongside this trapped energy, we build mental cages known as limiting beliefs. These are the conclusions our younger selves drew from painful experiences. If you were told as a child that you were not smart, you may have formed the limiting belief, "I am not intelligent," which then dictates your entire career path. If you were hurt in a relationship, you may have adopted the belief, "Love is dangerous and always ends in pain," which causes you to push away genuine connection. These beliefs operate from the subconscious, acting as invisible governors on our lives, ensuring we never venture beyond the safe but painful territory of our past. The first step in this healing process is courageous self-inquiry. It is the willingness to sit with yourself and ask, What old stories am I still telling myself? What am I believing about myself and the world that is keeping me stuck? You must bring these shadows into the light. For it is only in the light that they can be healed. The most powerful solvent for this trapped energy, the master key that dissolves the chains of the past, is the sacred act of forgiveness. We often resist forgiveness, believing that it is an act of condoning what happened, of letting the other person off the hook. This is a profound misunderstanding. Holding on to resentment, anger, and blame is like drinking a cup of poison every single day and expecting the other person to get sick. The only person it harms is you. It keeps you energetically tethered to the very person and the very experience you wish to move on from. Forgiveness, therefore, is not something you do for the other person. It is the ultimate act of self-love and self-liberation. It is the conscious decision to stop carrying the heavy burden of the past. It is you, standing on your ship, and with a powerful blade of intention, cutting the anchor chain that connects you to that past pain. You are not saying what happened was okay. You are saying, I am no longer willing to allow what happened in the past to destroy my peace in the present. Often, the most difficult person to forgive is ourselves. We punish ourselves for years for past mistakes, for words we wish we could take back, for choices made from a place of ignorance or pain. You must extend to yourself the same grace. Understand that at every stage of your life, you were doing the best you could with the level of awareness and the tools you had at that time. To forgive yourself is to fully accept your humanity, to release the grip of shame, and to give yourself permission to begin anew. While forgiveness is the spiritual foundation, there are also practical techniques that can dramatically accelerate the release of this old, stuck energy. One of the most effective is a modality known as EFT, or the emotional freedom techniques, often called tapping. This practice brilliantly combines modern psychology with the ancient wisdom of Chinese medicine. It works on the premise that all negative emotions are the result of a disruption in the body's energy system. By gently tapping on a series of specific meridian points on the face and body, the same points used in acupuncture, while simultaneously voicing the specific emotional issue you are dealing with, you can physically discharge the trapped energetic charge from your system. It is a way of calming the body's fight or flight response and sending a signal of safety to the brain, allowing it to reprocess the old memory without the intense emotional trigger. Another profound practice is the use of guided healing meditations, particularly those that focus on healing the inner child. These meditations guide you into a relaxed state where you can safely travel back in your imagination to connect with the younger version of you who first experienced a particular wound. You do not go back to relive the trauma, but to intervene as the wise, loving adult you are today. You give your younger self the words of comfort, the feeling of safety, and the unconditional love that they needed but did not receive. In doing so, you are reparenting yourself, healing the wound at its very root, and integrating that lost, fragmented part of you back into the wholeness of your being. The great spiritual teacher Louise Hay, in her landmark audiobook, You Can Heal Your Life, provides one of the most empowering frameworks for this journey. Her own life was a testament to this philosophy. After a childhood filled with trauma and abuse, she was diagnosed with cancer. Instead of accepting it as a death sentence, she embarked on a radical journey of inner healing. She came to believe that her illness was a physical manifestation of her deep-seated resentment towards those who had harmed her, and a profound lack of self-love. She dedicated herself to the intense work of forgiveness and to learning, for the first time, to truly love and approve of herself. 6 months later, to the astonishment of her doctors, her body was completely free of cancer. From this experience, she developed her core teaching that every disease in the body is linked to a metaphysical cause, a specific negative thought pattern or unresolved emotional issue. She proposed that problems with the throat, for example, often relate to a stifled voice or an inability to speak one's truth. Back problems can signify a feeling of being unsupported in life. Stomach issues often point to an inability to digest a new idea or experience. For every ailment, her solution was to release the old emotional pattern and consciously install a new, life-affirming thought pattern through the dedicated use of affirmations. Her work provides a beautiful and powerful roadmap, reminding us that we are not victims of our bodies, but that our bodies are faithful servants, reflecting our inner state, and that by healing our minds and our hearts, we can, indeed, and heal our lives. Ultimately, healing the past is not about erasing it or pretending it didn't happen. It is about transforming your relationship to it. It is about looking back with compassion, wisdom, and forgiveness, and extracting the lessons while releasing the pain. You are not broken. You are a survivor who has gathered incredible strength and wisdom from your journey. Healing is the process of reclaiming the energy you left behind in old battles, so that you can bring the full force of your integrated, powerful, and whole self into the creation of your future. And as you release these heavy anchors of the past, as you clear the energetic channels of your being, you will notice a new lightness, a new freedom. The river of your life, once dammed by old debris, can now flow with power and purpose. To navigate this newly cleared channel, to move in harmony with the great current of life, we must now learn to align ourselves with the universe's own perfect rhythm and innate intelligence. This brings us to the wisdom of trusting in divine timing. Having bravely journeyed inward to heal the wounds of the past, we emerge into the present moment with a new sense of wholeness and clarity. The energetic channels are open. The anchor chains have been cut, and the powerful engine of our new identity is humming, ready to propel us forward. It is at this moment of profound readiness that we encounter one of the most subtle and advanced tests of our faith, the test of time. We have placed our order with the cosmos, and now, our limited human ego, conditioned by a world of instant gratification, begins to tap its foot impatiently, asking over and over, when will it arrive? This impatience, this anxiety about the timeline, is one of the final and most powerful forms of resistance. It is born from the illusion that we, with our narrow, linear perception of time, know a better schedule than the infinite, holistic intelligence that orchestrates the symphony of the cosmos. To truly live in a state of grace and flow, we must relinquish our attachment to our personal timetable and learn to trust in the flawless, impeccable rhythm of divine timing. The universe does not operate on a clock. It operates in seasons. It has its own perfect and unknowable rhythm of unfolding. Our impatience is a form of arrogance. It is the statement that our small, finite mind understands the intricate dance of a billion interconnected variables better than the cosmic mind that created them. A delay, from our perspective, is never a denial from the universe's perspective. When our desire does not manifest instantly, it is not because we have failed or because the universe has forgotten us. It is always for a reason that serves our highest good. Perhaps the universe is first preparing you for the blessing you have asked for. If you have asked for a great love, you may first need to develop a greater capacity for self-love, so you do not sabotage the relationship when it arrives. If you have asked for great wealth, you may first need to cultivate the wisdom and integrity to manage it responsibly. The perceived delay is often a divine training period, a time of strengthening and preparation so that you can sustain the blessing once it comes. At other times, the universe is busy preparing the circumstances. It is a master chess player, moving pieces on a board that spans galaxies and lifetimes. The right person may need to finish a chapter in their life before they can enter yours. The right opportunity may require a company to restructure or a new technology to be developed. What looks to us like a frustrating period of stillness may, from a higher perspective, be a flurry of complex, behind-the-scenes activity, as the universe lovingly arranges every detail on our behalf. And sometimes, what we perceive as a delay is actually an act of divine protection. We may be asking for something that our limited self thinks it wants. but which our higher self knows would lead us down a path of pain or stagnation. In these instances, the universe, in its infinite love, withholds the lesser thing because it is arranging for something far greater to enter our lives. The closed door is not a punishment. It is a redirection towards a more magnificent opening just around the corner. To trust in divine timing is to have faith that even in silence and stillness, a perfect plan is unfolding for our ultimate benefit. This state of trust requires a profound shift in how we experience the act of waiting. We must move from a state of passive, anxious waiting to one of active, joyful expectation. Passive waiting is a low-frequency state. It is the feeling of being a victim of time. It is obsessively checking for results, feeling frustrated and powerless with each passing day that your desire hasn't manifested. This energy of neediness and doubt actively pushes your desire away. Active expectation is the complete opposite. It is a high-frequency state of confident, joyful anticipation. It is the feeling a happy child has on the night before their birthday. They do not know the exact moment the gifts will arrive, but they go to bed with an absolute, unwavering faith that morning will come. And with it, celebration and joy. They are not anxious, they are excited. This is the state we must cultivate. We must learn to enjoy the journey, to find beauty and joy in the here and now, all while holding a quiet, unshakable knowing in our hearts that our desire is a done deal. Its delivery perfectly scheduled. This posture of faithful expectation tells the universe that we are in complete alignment with our desire, and it actually collapses time, drawing the manifestation to us more quickly. While we wait in this state of joyful trust, the universe does not leave us in the dark. It constantly sends us little messages, confirmations, and signs to let us know that our order has been received and is being processed. Our job is to learn to read this subtle, symbolic language. These often come in the form of signs and synchronicities. A sign is a personal, symbolic message. It might be repeatedly seeing a certain sequence of numbers, like 1111 or 444. It could be finding a feather on your path just as you were thinking about your dream, or hearing a specific song on the radio with lyrics that speak directly to your situation. These are not mere coincidences. They are winks from the cosmos, little energetic high fives reassuring you to keep the faith, letting you know that you are on the right track. Synchronicities are meaningful coincidences that seem to defy probability. It's when you are thinking about an old friend you haven't spoken to in years, and your phone rings and it is them. It's when you desperately need a specific piece of information, and you walk into a cafe and randomly overhear two strangers at the next table discussing that exact topic. These events are the universe revealing its hidden architecture. They are tangible proof that an unseen intelligence is arranging reality around you, lining up the people and circumstances necessary for your desire to manifest. Learning to notice, acknowledge, and feel gratitude for these signs and synchronicities is a crucial practice. It transforms the waiting period from a barren desert into an enchanted forest, filled with wonder, magic, and constant reassurance. There are two powerful stories that beautifully illustrate this principle. The first is the parable of the Chinese bamboo tree. A farmer plants a bamboo seed. For the first year, he diligently waters and fertilizes the soil, yet nothing appears above the ground. He continues his care through the second year, the third, and the fourth, still with no visible result. To an outside observer, his efforts would seem like a complete failure. But in the fifth year, a tiny sprout finally breaks through the soil, and in the 6 weeks that follow, the bamboo tree grows to a staggering height of 90 feet. The question is, was the tree dormant for 5 years and then grew in 6 weeks? No. For 5 years, beneath the surface, it was silently and painstakingly building a massive, complex root system, a foundation strong enough to support the spectacular growth that was to come. Our greatest dreams are often like this bamboo tree. The long periods of seeming delay are when the universe is silently building the necessary foundation in our lives. Paulo Coelho's masterpiece, The Alchemist, is a profound meditation on this theme. The shepherd boy, Santiago, is not given a simple map to his treasure. He must learn to follow the omens, the seemingly random events and encounters that guide his path. His journey is not a straight line. It is filled with detours, setbacks, and long periods of waiting. Yet, every single step, even those that seem like failures, is an essential part of his journey, teaching him a lesson he needs or leading him to a person he must meet. His story is the ultimate lesson in relinquishing our own rigid plans and learning to trust the unfolding journey. Reading the signs the universe provides along the way. Therefore, the final piece of the art of allowing is to surrender your personal timeline. Release the anxious need to know when. Find peace in the process. Fall in love with the journey, not just the destination. Trust that there is a perfect rhythm to your life, a divine choreography that is unfolding with breathtaking precision. Know in the core of your being that what is truly meant for you will never miss you, and it will arrive not a moment too soon or a moment too late, but at the exact instant of divine perfection. Now, this ability to trust the journey, to read the signs and synchronicities along the path, is not merely an act of passive observation. It requires the cultivation of a deeper, more refined perceptive faculty. It requires us to learn to listen not just with our ears, but with our soul. It requires that we hone our own inner guidance system, our infallible connection to cosmic intelligence, our intuition, as we learn to surrender our personal timetables and trust in the grand, unfolding rhythm of divine timing. We begin to notice the subtle language of the universe. We see the signs. We recognize the synchronicities. We understand that we are being guided. But this guidance is not solely external. To navigate the path that is being laid out for us, to know when to turn left, when to wait, and when to move boldly forward, we must learn to consult the internal counterpart to these external signs. We must activate our own innate, infallible guidance system, a direct line to the universal mind that is more accurate than any map, more reliable than any expert opinion. This system is your intuition. It is the quiet whisper of your soul, the gentle nudge of your higher self, your own personal, inner compass in a world that glorifies the loud, logical, and analytical mind. Learning to hear, trust, and act on the subtle whispers of intuition is perhaps the most vital skill you can ever develop. It is the difference between navigating your life by stumbling through a dark forest and flying above it, guided by the clear light of the stars. So, what exactly is this elusive faculty we call intuition? It is not wishful thinking, nor is it simply a random guess. Intuition is a higher form of intelligence, a faculty of direct knowing that bypasses the linear, step-by-step process of the rational mind. While your logical mind builds its conclusions brick by brick with facts and data from the past, your intuition receives information holistically, in a flash, as a complete picture. It is your soul's ability to tap directly into the quantum field of infinite information, accessing knowledge and wisdom that is not available to your 5 physical senses. This intuitive guidance can manifest in several ways. It can be a strong gut feeling, a clear sense of rightness or wrongness in the pit of your stomach, known as clairsentience. It can be a sudden, brilliant idea or a profound knowing that appears in your mind fully formed, without any preceding thought process, which is claircognizance. For some, it may be an inner vision or a mental image, a form of clairvoyance, and for others, it is a quiet, clear inner voice that speaks with simple authority, a form of clairaudience. The form it takes is less important than its origin. It comes from the highest, wisest part of you, the part that is eternally connected to universal consciousness. and always knows the path of least resistance to your greatest joy and expansion. The greatest challenge in learning to use this inner compass is distinguishing its signal from the static of your own fear-based ego mind. This is where most people get confused, mistaking an anxious impulse for a true intuitive hit. The two voices feel profoundly different in the body, and learning to discern them is a practice of self-awareness. The voice of true intuition is almost always quiet, calm, and neutral. It does not have an emotional charge. It feels peaceful, expansive, and grounded. It often offers simple, direct guidance, like call that person, read this book, or don't sign that contract, without a long, dramatic story attached. It feels like a simple, clear truth. The voice of fear, on the other hand, is loud, urgent, and emotionally turbulent. It feels constricting, heavy, and anxious. It rarely offers simple guidance. Instead, it screams a complex, dramatic, and often catastrophic narrative. You have to take this job right now, or you'll end up broke and homeless, or, if you trust that person, you're going to get hurt again just like last time. Fear is always rooted in the pain of the past or the anxiety about the future. Intuition is always rooted in the wisdom of the present moment. To learn the difference, you must become a connoisseur of your own inner states. When you have a hunch, pause. Tune into your body. Does the feeling expand and calm you? Or does it contract and agitate you? The body never lies. It is the resonant sounding board for these different frequencies. Like any subtle faculty, your intuition becomes stronger, clearer, and more reliable the more you use it and the more you create the right conditions for it to be heard. You cannot hear a whisper in the middle of a rock concert. Similarly, you cannot hear the subtle voice of your soul amidst the constant noise of a stressed out, overstimulated mind. The first and most important practice for honing your intuition is the cultivation of stillness. This means making time for regular silence, whether through formal meditation, a quiet walk in nature, or simply turning off all your devices and sitting with yourself for a few minutes each day. In the silence between your thoughts, the voice of intuition has a space to arise. Another powerful technique is journaling, specifically a practice sometimes called automatic writing. You can open your journal and write a question at the top of the page, such as, "Dear Intuition, Higher Self, what is the most important thing for me to know right now?" Then, you relax, quiet your mind, and simply start writing, allowing the words to flow without judgment or censorship. You may be astonished at the profound wisdom that emerges, wisdom that your conscious mind didn't know it possessed. Furthermore, you must learn to listen to the wisdom of your body. Your body is a highly sensitive, intuitive instrument. Practice noticing how different people, situations, and choices make you feel physically. A feeling of lightness, openness, and expansion in your chest or solar plexus is a powerful intuitive yes. A feeling of heaviness, contraction, or a knot in your stomach is an equally powerful no frobel. Your body is constantly giving you feedback. Your work is to learn to listen. In his fascinating audiobook, Blink, author Malcolm Gladwell explores the science behind this rapid cognition. He details the concept of thin slicing, which is our unconscious mind's incredible ability to find patterns and make accurate judgments based on very brief, thin slices of experience. He tells the story of art experts who, upon first glance at an ancient Greek statue, had an immediate, visceral feeling that it was a fake, even though months of extensive scientific testing had authenticated it. Their intuition, their highly trained pattern recognition faculty, was processing thousands of subtle cues unconsciously. It took years, but eventually, the statue was proven to be a masterful forgery. Their gut feeling was more accurate than the rigorous scientific analysis. While Gladwell approaches this from a psychological perspective, It points to the same truth. There is a powerful form of intelligence at work beneath the surface of our conscious minds. Similarly, many of the world's most successful CEOs and innovators, when interviewed about their greatest breakthroughs, will often admit that while data and analysis were important, their final, pivotal decision was based on a gut feeling or an intuitive hunch that went against the prevailing logic. This highlights the courage required to follow your inner compass. It often asks you to take a path that seems illogical to yourself and to others, demanding a deep faith in your own inner knowing. Your intuition is your birthright. It is the most loyal and trustworthy guide you will ever have. It is the voice of the universe, personalized just for you, constantly whispering the next step on your most joyful path. Your work is to create the silence to hear it, to develop the discernment to trust it, and to cultivate the courage to act on it. As you begin to follow its guidance, starting with small things, you will build a powerful feedback loop of trust. You will take a small intuitive leap, see the positive result, and your faith in your inner compass will grow. The more you trust it, the louder and clearer its voice becomes, until it is no longer a faint whisper, but a clear and constant presence in your life. This inner guidance, however, does not always lead us to a state of passive contemplation. Very often, the whispers of intuition are not telling us to wait, but are pointing us toward a specific, tangible action in the physical world. This reveals a crucial truth. Metaphysics is not a philosophy of passive navel-gazing. It is a dynamic engagement with reality, requiring a beautiful and delicate balance between being and doing. This brings us to a vital distinction. We must all learn the difference between action born of joyful inspiration and action born of struggle and fear. Having learned to consult our inner compass, our infallible intuition, we now stand ready to navigate the world with a newfound sense of clarity and purpose. Our intuition does not exist in a vacuum. It is a practical guide for living. Very often, its guidance is not to sit still and wait, but to move, to create, to engage with the world in a specific way. It is here that we confront one of the most pervasive and exhausting myths of our modern culture, the glorification of the grind. We have been taught from a young age that success is the direct result of relentless effort, of hustling harder than everyone else, of sacrificing our well-being on the altar of ambition. The mantra of no pain, no gain is etched into our collective consciousness, suggesting that action, to be valuable, must feel like a struggle. This philosophy, while seemingly noble, is born from a deep-seated paradigm of lack and separation. It assumes that the universe is a withholding adversary, and that success, wealth, and happiness must be wrestled from its unwilling hands through sheer force of will. We are here to dismantle that exhausting illusion. The universe is not an adversary, it is your partner, and it operates on the fundamental principle of the path of least resistance. The highest form of action, therefore, is not born from a desperate struggle, but from a joyful, effortless, and powerful state of inspired flow. The societal worship of the grind has a significant energetic and biological cost. Action that is fueled by fear, the fear of failure, the fear of not having enough, the fear of being left behind is powered by the body's stress response. It floods our system with cortisol and adrenaline, while useful in a true emergency. Living in this state leads to chronic stress, anxiety, burnout, and physical illness. It is action taken from a low vibration state. When you are hustling out of fear, you are energetically screaming to the universe, I don't have enough, and I have to struggle to get it. The universe, being a faithful mirror, can only reflect that vibration back to you, creating more circumstances that require struggle and validate your belief in scarcity. Let us be clear, this is not an argument against discipline, persistence, or focused effort. These are noble qualities. It is an argument against effort that feels like pushing a boulder uphill. There is a world of difference between the disciplined artist who shows up to their studio each day with a sense of joyful purpose and the burnt-out entrepreneur who forces themselves to work 18-hour days, fueled by caffeine and anxiety. The first is working in harmony with life, the second is at war with it. True power does not come from pushing the river. It comes from aligning yourself with its powerful current. So, what is the nature of this more graceful and effective form of action? This is inspired action. Unlike forced effort, which originates from the logical, fearful ego mind trying to figure everything out, inspired action arises from your connection to your intuition, your higher self. It is the physical expression of an intuitive nudge. It is the universe tapping you on the shoulder and whispering, "Now, go here. Do this." The way it feels is the most important distinction. Forced effort feels heavy, draining, and obligatory. Inspired action feels light, exciting, and energizing. You do not have to motivate yourself to take inspired action. You feel a natural, joyful pull towards it. It feels less like work and more like play. It is often accompanied by a sense of timelessness, a state the psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi famously called flow. In a state of flow, you are so completely absorbed in the activity that hours can pass by in what feels like minutes. Your ego dissolves, and you become a pure channel for creative energy. Furthermore, an inspired action is often small and simple. The ego loves to create massive, overwhelming, multi-step plans. The universe, however, typically only gives you the very next single, easy step. It might be the sudden urge to send a short email to one specific person. It might be the impulse to drive to a particular bookstore, where you find the exact book that contains the answer you've been seeking. It might be the flash of inspiration to write a single paragraph, which then effortlessly unfolds into an entire chapter. Inspired action is the universe lighting up the very next stone on your path, trusting that you will step on it, at which point the next stone will be illuminated. This reveals the beautiful co-creative dance between you and the universe. This philosophy is not an excuse for passivity. You cannot simply sit in a meditative state, visualize your desire, and then wait for it to be delivered to your door with no participation on your part. Creation is a partnership. Your 50% of the work is to do the inner alignment to clarify your vision, to manage your vibration, to feel the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and to release your attachment to the outcome. When you have done this inner work faithfully, the universe does its 50%. It rearranges the quantum field. It orchestrates synchronicities. It influences people. And it opens doors. An inspired action is your invitation to walk through one of those doors. It is you meeting the universe halfway. It is your physical yes to the energetic opportunity that has been created. If you have done the inner work to attract your perfect business partner, the universe may arrange for them to be at a certain event. The inspired action for you is to feel the nudge to attend that event. Even if you feel tired or don't logically see the point, you must do your part by showing up. You must take the physical step that the universe has so lovingly arranged for you. There is a classic parable that illustrates this partnership perfectly. A terrible flood is coming to a town. The authorities issue an evacuation order. A very devout man sits on his porch and prays, "God, I have been faithful to you my whole life. I know you will save me." Soon, a neighbor drives by in a large truck and yells, "The waters are rising, get in. I'll take you to higher ground." The man calmly replies, "No, thank you. I have faith. God will save me." The waters rise, forcing the man to the second floor of his house. A rescue team comes by in a boat. "Sir, you have to come with us now," they plead. The man waves them away, saying, "I will be fine. God is my savior." The waters continue to rise, forcing him onto his roof. A helicopter hovers overhead and lowers a rope ladder. The pilot shouts over the loudspeaker, This is your last chance. Grab the ladder. The man shakes his head and yells back, I have placed my trust in God, inevitably. The man drowns. When he arrives in heaven, he stands before God, confused and distraught. I don't understand. He says, I had such faith in you. Why did you let me drown? God looks at him with loving compassion and replies, I sent you a truck, a boat, and a helicopter. What more were you expecting? The truck, the boat, and the helicopter were the inspired actions. They were the physical forms of the universe's help. Our job is not to deny the practical help that shows up, but to recognize it as the answer to our prayer and act on it. Think of two artists. The first believes in the grind. He chains himself to his easel every day from 9 to 5. Convinced that hard work is the only key, he tries to force his creativity, fighting against his own lack of inspiration. And day after day, he produces work that is technically competent but lifeless and uninspired. He ends each day feeling drained and frustrated. The second artist understands flow. She spends her mornings in quiet contemplation, in nature, reading, filling her well of inspiration. She waits for the spark, the inner pull. When it arrives, it is like a lightning strike. She feels an irresistible urge to paint. She runs to her studio, and for the next 4 hours, she works in a state of ecstatic, timeless flow. The painting seems to paint itself through her. At the end, she is left with a brilliant, vibrant masterpiece, and she feels more energized than when she started. The first artist worked hard. The second artist co-created with the universe. The path to a masterful life is not about learning to work harder, but about learning to align more deeply, so that our actions become joyful, powerful, and effortlessly effective. And as we begin to consistently act from this place of inspired flow, we may notice something remarkable. Our actions feel less and less about fulfilling our own small, personal ambitions, and more like we are playing a unique and essential role in a much larger cosmic play. This feeling is the first sign that we are beginning to align with our soul's true purpose, our personal dharma. As we learn to move in the world through the grace of inspired action, a beautiful and synchronistic pattern begins to emerge. We notice that our intuitive nudges, our moments of effortless flow, are not entirely random. They seem to be guiding us in a particular direction, weaving a coherent theme through the fabric of our lives. This gentle, persistent pull is the call of your soul towards its unique purpose. It is the whisper of your dharma. This ancient Sanskrit word is often translated as life purpose, but its meaning is far deeper and more resonant. Dharma is your essential nature. It is your intrinsic role in the cosmic order, the unique note that only you can contribute to the universal symphony. The most profound source of human suffering is not the absence of wealth or success, but the gnawing, soul-deep ache of meaninglessness. It is the feeling of living a life that is not your own, of wearing a costume that does not fit, of playing a role you were not meant to play. To discover and align with your dharma is to finally come home to yourself. It is to ignite the inner fire that illuminates your path, fills you with boundless energy, and makes your life a magnificent expression of joyful service. So, what is this dharma? This unique soul signature that is yours alone. It is not a singular, narrow job title that you must guess correctly. Rather, it is the vibrant, powerful intersection of 4 fundamental aspects of your being. Think of it as 4 overlapping circles. And in the center, where they all meet, lies the sweet spot of your purpose. The first circle is your passion. What do you love to do so much that you would do it for free? What subjects do you love to learn about? What activities make you lose all track of time? This is the fuel for your journey. The second circle is your gift. What are you uniquely good at? What skills and talents come so naturally to you that you barely even recognize them as special? What do your friends and family always come to you for help with? This is your unique genius. The third circle is service. How can your passions and your gifts serve the world? What problem can you solve? What pain can you soothe? What joy can you bring to other people? This is how your purpose connects you to humanity. And the fourth circle is abundance. How can the value you provide through your service create a prosperous and supportive life for you? This is the circle of value exchange, ensuring that, as you give your gifts freely, you are also open to receiving the universe's support in return. Your Dharma lies at the nexus of these four questions. It is doing what you love, using what you are good at, to provide what the world needs, in a way that allows you to be richly rewarded. It is not about becoming someone you are not. It is about having the courage to become more fully and authentically yourself than you have ever been before. Discovering your Dharma is rarely a single, lightning bolt moment of revelation. More often, it is a process of discovery, of following a trail of energetic breadcrumbs that your soul has left for you. Your job is not to have it all figured out from the start, but to become a detective of your own joy. The first clue is always your curiosity and excitement. Pay attention to what genuinely fascinates you, even if it seems impractical or unrelated to your current life. The subjects you research late at night, the new skills you feel an inexplicable pull to learn. These are not random distractions. They are signposts pointing you toward the landscape of your purpose. Another powerful clue can be found in what we might call benign envy. Is there someone you look at, not with a sense of bitter jealousy, but with a feeling of deep admiration and a thought that says, I would love to live a life like that? This feeling is often a message from your soul, showing you a potential within yourself that is waiting to be unlocked. It's not about copying that person, but about recognizing the qualities in them that resonate with your own dormant purpose. It is also incredibly valuable to journey back in time and remember your childhood passions. Before the world told you who you should be, what did you love to do? Were you a builder, a storyteller, an artist, a healer of stray animals? Often, the purest seeds of our Dharma were planted in our youth, before they were covered over by the concrete of adult expectations and responsibilities. Finally, the most important part of the discovery process is experimentation and action. You cannot discover your purpose by sitting in a room and thinking about it. You must engage with the world. Take a class in that subject that fascinates you. Volunteer for a cause that moves your heart. Start a small project on the side. The path is literally made by walking it. As you take small, inspired steps, the universe will meet you with feedback. Doors will open or close. You will feel a sense of energy and flow, or you will feel drained and uninspired. This feedback is not judgment. It is guidance, and gently steering you closer and closer to the heart of your Dharma. As you walk this path, you begin to understand the profound difference between a job, a career, and a true calling. A job is transactional. You trade your time and energy for a paycheck. It is a means to an end, often disconnected from your deeper passions or values. A career is a path of advancement. It engages your ambition. You pursue promotions, rises, and titles, seeking a sense of progress and societal validation. Many people live their entire lives at this level, achieving great external success while feeling an inner emptiness. A calling, your Dharma, is on an entirely different plane. A calling is a pull from your soul. You do it not for the money or the status, though those may come as byproducts, but because you feel you must. It is a fundamental expression of your being. The work itself is the reward. It energizes you rather than drains you, because it is in perfect alignment with your core energy. And a true calling is always connected to service, to a purpose larger than your own ego. When you are living your Dharma, the entire universe seems to rise up to support you. You experience more synchronicity, more flow, and a sense of being carried by a powerful current of grace. The beloved audiobook, The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari by Robin Sharma, is a perfect allegory for this journey from career to calling. It tells the story of Julian Mantle, a high-powered celebrity litigator. By all external measures, he was a resounding success. He had a mansion, a private jet, and the iconic red Ferrari. He was at the absolute pinnacle of a brilliant career. Internally, however, he was spiritually bankrupt. His life was a frantic, soulless pursuit of more, which ultimately led to a massive heart attack in the middle of a packed courtroom. This physical and spiritual collapse was the catalyst for his transformation. He sold all his possessions, including his Ferrari, and journeyed to the Himalayan mountains in search of a deeper meaning to life. There, he studied under a group of enlightened monks who taught him the timeless principles of joyful, purposeful living. The essence of his transformation was the shift from a life driven by ambition to a life guided by purpose. He discovered that his true dharma was not to accumulate more wealth and fame for himself, but to return to the world and share the life-saving wisdom he had learned. He traded his identity as a superstar lawyer for the identity of a humble servant of humanity. He returned not as a diminished man, but as a radiant, joyful, and infinitely more powerful being. His life now rich with the one thing his Ferrari could never buy him: profound meaning. To discover and live your dharma is the ultimate act of alignment. It is the moment when your personality finally becomes a clear and willing servant to your soul's purpose. It is the key to unlocking a life not just of success, but of deep, unshakable fulfillment. When you are on your dharmic path, your life takes on a magical quality. You feel guided, supported, and energized. Obstacles become opportunities, and your work becomes a joyful expression of your love for the world. And the very nature of Dharma, its inherent orientation towards service, is that it is your unique gift to the world. It is the value you were born to create. This act of offering your gifts, of creating and sharing value with others, immediately and automatically activates one of the most powerful and practical laws of the cosmos, the sacred, cyclical law of circulation. The beautiful and endless dance of giving and receiving. As we align with our Dharma, our soul's unique purpose, we naturally begin to express our gifts in service to the world. This act of giving, of sharing the value that we uniquely possess, is not a sacrifice or a depletion of our energy. It is the very action that turns the key in the lock of universal abundance. It activates one of the most practical, immediate, and powerful laws of the cosmos, the law of circulation. Imagine your life force, your energy, and your abundance as your very breath. You cannot only inhale. To do so would be to hoard the air, and you would quickly stagnate and perish. You cannot only exhale. To do so would be to give everything away, leaving you empty and depleted. Life, true vitality, exists in the rhythmic, effortless, and constant exchange of both. You must inhale, receive, and you must exhale, give. This is the natural rhythm of the universe. The tides ebb and they flow. The seasons turn, giving way to one another. Your heart receives blood and it pumps blood. All of life is a dynamic, constant circulation of energy. To live in harmony and prosperity, we must learn to participate in this cosmic dance, becoming a clear and open channel through which the abundance of the universe can flow, both to us and through us. Most of us have been unconsciously conditioned to operate from a scarcity mindset, which is the mindset of the clenched fist. It is the belief that there is a finite pie of resources, a limited supply of good in the world. From this perspective, if someone else gets a large slice, that means there is less for you. This belief leads to hoarding, to fear, to competition, and to stinginess. It views giving as a loss. When you give away $1, your supply of dollars has decreased. The energetic posture of the scarcity mindset is one of constriction, of holding on tightly to what little you have, afraid that it might be taken away. What this mindset fails to realize is that a clenched fist, while it may hold on to what it has, cannot receive anything new. Its very constriction blocks the flow. The alternative, The mindset of the creator is the flow mindset, the mindset of the open hand. This is the understanding that we live in an infinitely abundant universe, and that the source of all good is limitless. From this perspective, giving is not a loss, it is an act of faith. It is a declaration to the universe that you trust that there is more where that came from. The energetic posture is one of openness, of allowing energy to move freely. It understands the simple, profound truth: you cannot receive with a closed fist. This principle is based on a fundamental law of physics and metaphysics. The universe abhors a vacuum. Nature will always rush to fill an empty space. If you create a vacuum in a container, the surrounding air will rush in to fill it. The same is true for the energy of abundance. When you give, you are creating a form of energetic vacuum in your life. By willingly releasing something, you create an open space. The universe, in its nature to maintain equilibrium and flow, must fill that space. It is a law. When you give money away with a joyful and trusting heart, you create a financial vacuum that the universe rushes to fill, often from completely unexpected sources. When you give love away freely, without demanding it in return, you create an emotional vacuum that draws more love into your life. When you share your knowledge and wisdom with others, you create an intellectual vacuum, and new insights and ideas begin to flow to you. This is why the act of giving is the most powerful catalyst for receiving. You are demonstrating your faith in an infinite supply, and the universe always, without fail, rewards faith. It is crucial to understand that this law is not limited to money. You can become a powerful and generous giver right now, regardless of your financial situation. In fact, practicing non-monetary giving is one of the best ways to activate this flow in your life. You can give your full, undivided presence. In a world of distraction, the gift of listening deeply to another person, without interrupting or planning your response, is a profound act of generosity. You can give appreciation. A genuine, heartfelt compliment has the power to lift someone's spirits for an entire day. It costs you nothing, yet it creates a powerful outflow of positive energy. You can give kindness, a simple smile to a stranger, letting someone go ahead of you in a queue, a small act of courtesy. These are all forms of giving. You can give knowledge. If you have a skill or insight that could help someone, share it freely without expecting anything in return. You can even give forgiveness, releasing someone from the energetic debt you feel they owe you, which creates a massive vacuum for peace to enter your own life. The universe does not differentiate between the gift of $1 and the gift of a genuine smile. It only registers the generous, open-hearted frequency of the outflow, and it responds in kind. The spirit in which you give is everything. The intention behind the gift determines its power. If you give with a feeling of resentment, obligation, or from a place of fear, the gift is energetically tainted. If you give with the needy expectation of an immediate, direct return from the person you gave to, you are not truly giving. You are attempting to barter. This constricts the flow. True, powerful giving is done with a spirit of joy, abundance, and detachment. You give for the sheer joy of giving, because it feels good to be a channel of blessing for another. You give with a sense of trust, knowing that the universe is your source, and that the return will come to you in the perfect way and at the perfect time, though it may be through a completely different channel. A powerful practice to cultivate this discipline, especially with finances, is the ancient tradition of tithing, which can be viewed not as a religious duty, but as a metaphysical principle. The practice involves giving away a set percentage, traditionally 10%, of all the income you receive. By committing to this, you are constantly demonstrating to yourself and to the universe that you live from a place of abundance, not lack. You are treating the universe as your business partner and faithfully giving it its share, ensuring that the channel of financial flow remains open. active, and blessed. In their brilliant modern parable, The Go-Giver, authors Bob Berg and John David Mann tell the story of an ambitious young man named Joe, who is a classic go-getter. He is driven, hard-working, but also stressed, struggling, and on the verge of missing his quarterly quota. Desperate for a secret to success, he is introduced to a series of incredibly successful mentors who teach him the 5 laws of stratospheric success. The central theme is a radical paradigm shift. His focus must move away from what he can get and onto what he can give. The first law states, your true worth is determined by how much more you give in value than you take in payment. Joe is taught to stop focusing on making the sale and start focusing on the success of his clients. He learns to provide immense value, to help people, even his competitors, without any thought of an immediate return. He shifts his identity from a go-getter to a go-giver as he begins to live by these laws, putting the interests of others first and focusing solely on the outflow of value. His own life begins to transform in miraculous ways. Referrals, opportunities, and wealth begin to flow to him from unexpected directions, far surpassing what his old hustle mentality could ever have produced. His story is the perfect illustration of the law of circulation. Focus on being a source of value for others, and you will automatically become a magnet for abundance yourself. Therefore, the path to a truly prosperous life is not about hoarding, but about flowing. See yourself not as a container that must be filled, but as a channel through which the abundance of the universe can move. The more you allow to flow through you, the more will inevitably stick to you. Do not be afraid to give your best away, your best ideas, your best energy, your best love, your best service. Trust that the source is infinite. Be a fountain, not a drain, as we learn to master this beautiful, harmonious dance of giving and receiving. We begin to cultivate a true and lasting state of prosperity. But what does this prosperity truly mean? Is it merely the accumulation of money and things, or is it something far richer, far deeper, and infinitely more fulfilling? This leads us to the crucial task of redefining our very understanding of wealth. By aligning with our Dharma and embracing the universal law of circulation, we open the floodgates for prosperity to pour into our lives. We become participants in the divine, rhythmic flow of giving and receiving. But as this flow increases, we must pause and ask ourselves a profoundly important question. What is it that we are truly seeking? What is the nature of the wealth we wish to create? Our society has sold us a very narrow and ultimately unsatisfying definition of prosperity. We have been taught to equate our self-worth with our net worth, to measure the richness of our lives by the numbers in our bank account. This has created a culture of people who are chasing financial success with all their might, believing that when they finally arrive at a certain income level, or buy a certain house, or see a certain figure in their retirement account, they will finally be happy, peaceful, and fulfilled. This is the great arrival fallacy, the dangerous myth that happiness is a destination to be reached through external acquisition. But what is the point of gaining the whole world if, in the process, you lose your peace of mind, your physical vitality, your loving relationships, and your connection to your own soul? The time has come to tear up this bankrupt definition of success and redefine wealth on our own terms, creating a new, holistic vision of a life that is not just rich in finances, but rich in everything. The relentless pursuit of one-dimensional financial wealth is a trap. It places money not as a tool, but as a master. When money is your sole objective, every decision is filtered through the lens of profit and loss, often at the expense of your own well-being and integrity. It can lead to the tragic archetype of the bankrupt millionaire, the individual who has amassed a great fortune but is spiritually empty, emotionally disconnected, physically unhealthy from years of stress and neglect, and time poor, working 80 hours a week with no freedom to enjoy the fruits of their labor. Their relationships are often strained or broken, and they live with a constant, low-grade anxiety. Terrified of losing what they have worked so hard to accumulate, they have succeeded by society's standards. But they have failed by the standards of the soul. Money is a beautiful and necessary form of energy. It is a magnificent servant and a wonderful tool that can be used to create comfort, freedom, and positive impact in the world. But it is a terrible master. True prosperity requires that we put money back in its proper place as just one important component of a life that is already overflowing with richness in many other forms. To do this, we must create a new kind of balance sheet, a holistic prosperity map that gives us a true and accurate picture of our wealth. Your old balance sheet may have only had 2 columns, assets and liabilities. Your new balance sheet has at least 7 essential accounts, and financial wealth is only one of them. The first, and most foundational, is your spiritual wealth. This is the richness of your connection to a higher power, to the universe, to God. However you define it, it is your sense of purpose, your inner peace, and the feeling that your life has meaning. Without this, all other forms of wealth feel hollow. Next is your mental wealth. This is the richness of your mind, your creativity, your curiosity, your clarity of thought, your ability to learn and grow. It is having a mind that is your ally, a source of brilliant ideas and solutions, rather than an enemy filled with worry and negative chatter. Then there is your emotional wealth. This is your capacity to feel the full spectrum of life's beautiful emotions, to give and receive love freely, to feel deep joy, to have compassion for others, to laugh from your belly. A rich emotional life is a hallmark of true prosperity. The fourth account is your physical wealth. This is the health, vitality, and energy of your body. It is the ability to wake up in the morning feeling strong, vibrant, and ready for the day. Your body is the physical vessel through which you experience all other forms of wealth. To neglect it is to sabotage your entire portfolio. Fifth is your relational wealth. This is the immeasurable treasure of loving, supportive relationships with family and friends. It is the feeling of community, of belonging, of knowing that you are not alone in the world. No amount of money can replace the richness of a true human connection. Sixth is your time wealth. This is one of the most precious forms of freedom. It is having sovereignty over your own schedule, the ability to spend your time on the people and projects that you love, rather than being a slave to the clock and to endless obligations. And finally, seventh is your financial wealth. This is having the money and resources necessary to live a comfortable, dignified life, free from financial stress, with the means to pursue your passions, support your loved ones, and make a positive contribution to the world. The goal of a truly prosperous life is not to maximize one of these accounts at the expense of the others. It is to become a masterful investor in your own well-being, cultivating a thriving, balanced, and ever-growing portfolio of holistic wealth. The most liberating part of this new definition is that you can begin to feel wealthy right now, regardless of the current state of your bank account. True wealth is, and always has been, an internal state, a feeling, a vibration. It is the feeling of abundance, not the amount of abundance, that attracts more of it to you. Take a moment to conduct a new kind of wealth inventory. You may be financially challenged at this moment, but look at your other accounts. Are you rich in creative ideas? Are you rich in the love of your family? Are you rich in physical health, with a body that allows you to walk and breathe and experience this beautiful world? Are you rich in time, with a weekend ahead of you to spend as you please? When you begin to consciously acknowledge and feel deep, genuine gratitude for all the non-material abundance that is already flooding your life, your entire energetic state begins to shift. You move from a vibration of "I don't have enough money" to a vibration of "I am already so incredibly wealthy." From this powerful, resonant state of already being prosperous, you become a magnet for prosperity in all its forms to flow to you, including the financial, You are aligning with the universal principle that to he who has, more will be given. By acknowledging the wealth you have, you are opening the door for more. The classic audiobook from the early 20th century, The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles, speaks directly to this principle, though its title can be misleading. While the book is a practical manual on attracting financial wealth, its core philosophy is far deeper. Wattles' central premise is that there is a certain way of thinking and acting that leads inevitably to riches. This certain way is not a specific trick or technique, but a complete shift in consciousness. It is the act of moving from the competitive mind to the creative mind. The competitive mind sees life as a zero-sum game, a world of limited supply where one must fight and claw to get their share. The creative mind, however, knows that it is connected to an infinite, formless substance from which all things are made. It does not seek to take from others. It seeks only to create, to grow, and to add more value to life. The person living in the certain way is filled with a deep sense of gratitude for the blessings they already have, and an unshakable faith in the coming of future blessings. They are focused on expansion, on giving more, on becoming more. Wattles argues that when you adopt this creative, grateful, and expansive mindset as your default state of being, you naturally fall into harmony with the universal law of increase. Riches must flow to you as a natural consequence, just as the river must flow to the sea. But he implies a greater truth by living in this state. You become rich in all ways, rich in health, rich in relationships, rich in spirit, because you are living in a state of holistic alignment with the abundant nature of the universe itself. Therefore, we must elevate our ambition. Let us stop chasing the narrow, shallow goal of simply having a life of riches, and instead dedicate ourselves to creating a truly rich life. A life overflowing with peace, purpose, love, laughter, health, freedom, and yes, the financial abundance to support and enhance it all. This is not a distant dream. It is a state of being that you can begin to cultivate today. By recognizing and celebrating the immense wealth that already surrounds you and is within you, to cultivate and sustain this profound state of holistic prosperity, to keep all 7 of our wealth accounts in a state of vibrant growth. We cannot rely on wishful thinking or sporadic effort. We need a consistent framework. We need a set of daily, weekly, and monthly practices that keep our energy tuned, our minds aligned, and our spirits soaring. This brings us to the crucial importance of building our own powerful and personal sacred rituals. Having redefined wealth as a holistic state of being, a vibrant and balanced portfolio of spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical prosperity, we must now address the most practical question of all: how do we cultivate and sustain it? A rich and masterful life does not happen by accident, nor is it maintained by sporadic bursts of effort. It is the result of consistent, conscious, and deliberate practice, just as an elite athlete commits to daily training and precise nutrition to maintain their physical fitness. A master of reality must commit to a daily regimen of metaphysical fitness. We must build a framework of sacred rituals that keep our energy tuned to a high frequency, our minds aligned with our highest intentions, and our spirits connected to their infinite source. A ritual, in this context, is not a dogmatic or empty ceremony. It is a sacred appointment with yourself. It is a conscious act of investing your time and energy into your own well-being. A declaration to the universe that you are a devout and disciplined co-creator of your life. Your daily rituals are the very foundation upon which your empire of holistic wealth is built. The most critical of these is your morning ritual. The first hour of your day sets the energetic tone for the next 16. If you begin your day in a state of reactive chaos, immediately grabbing your phone, checking stressful news and emails, rushing to get ready, you are starting your race from a position of deficit. Your energy already scattered and compromised. But if you can claim that first hour for yourself, what some call the victory hour. You can consciously calibrate your being for success, peace, and power. A powerful morning ritual has several key components. It begins with silence. Before you consume the noise of the world, you must connect with the stillness of your own being. This can be 5 to 20 minutes of meditation, focusing on your breath and allowing your mind to settle. In this silence, you are not taking on information. You are connecting to your own inner wisdom. Next comes declaration. This is the practice of consciously programming your mind for the day ahead through affirmations and visualization. You speak your I am statements, reminding yourself of the powerful creator you are. You take a few minutes to visualize your day unfolding in the most perfect way, feeling the positive emotions of your successes in advance. Then, expression. This is the act of journaling. Get the thoughts out of your head and onto paper. Write down what you are grateful for. Script your ideal outcomes, or simply do a brain dump to clear your mental clutter. After expression comes inspiration. Feed your mind with high-quality fuel. Read a few pages from an inspiring book. Listen to an uplifting podcast or audiobook. Nourish your mind with wisdom and positivity before it is exposed to the world's negativity. Finally, movement. You must move your body. Whether it is stretching, yoga, a quick high-intensity workout, or a walk outside. The act of moving your physical body changes your physiology, releases feel-good endorphins, and gets your vital life force energy flowing. By winning this first hour, you create a powerful momentum that carries you through the entire day with grace and effectiveness. Just as you begin your day with intention, you must end it with intention. Your evening ritual, or sacred shutdown, is your opportunity to consciously release the energy of the day and program your subconscious for a night of restorative sleep and creative problem solving. A crucial first step is to implement a digital sunset, at least 60 minutes before you plan to sleep. Turn off all screens: your phone, your computer, your television. The blue light from these devices disrupts your body's natural melatonin production, and the constant stream of information keeps your mind in an agitated state. This hour is for winding down. The next part of the ritual is to release the day. You can do this through journaling, writing down any frustrations or worries, and consciously making the decision to let them go, to not carry them into your rest. It is a mental clearing of the slate, a practice of forgiveness for yourself and others for any missteps of the day. Finally, you must program your subconscious. The moments just before you fall asleep are the golden hour for influencing your subconscious mind. As the conscious gatekeeper is drowsy and receptive, this is the perfect time to listen to a guided meditation for deep sleep, a recording of positive affirmations, or to hold your magic rock, as we discussed, and flood your being with the feeling of gratitude for the best part of your day. By doing this, you are instructing your unseen architect to go to work on your desires while you sleep, consolidating learning, solving problems, and aligning you with your goals. You are ensuring that you are marinating your consciousness in positivity for 8 straight hours. Your rituals should also extend to your environment. 2 of the most powerful environmental rituals are connecting with nature and creating a sacred space. Nature is a metaphysical battery charger. The earth itself has a natural, grounding frequency that can help to cleanse your energy field of stress and technological interference. The simple act of walking barefoot on grass, a practice known as earthing, can have a profound effect on your well-being. Make it a ritual to spend even a few minutes in nature each day. Consciously observe the intelligence in a tree. Feel the warmth of the sun on your skin. Listen to the sound of the wind. This practice instantly recalibrates your vibration and reminds you of your connection to a greater, harmonious whole. It is also essential to create a dedicated sacred space in your home. This does not require a separate room. It can be a small corner, a single chair, a windowsill, You define this space by placing a few items that are meaningful to you: a candle, a cristal, an inspiring image, a special book. You then make a commitment to use this space only for your positive rituals, your meditation, your journaling, your reading. Over time, as you consistently practice there, the space itself begins to accumulate a high-frequency energy. It becomes a physical anchor for your intention. Simply sitting down in your sacred space will begin to automatically shift you into a more centered and peaceful state, making your practices deeper and more effective. In his phenomenal audiobook, The 5 a.m. Club, Robin Sharma provides a powerful and highly structured framework for this philosophy. He champions the idea of rising at 5 a.m. to claim the victory hour from 5 to 6 a.m. Before the complexities of the day begin. He breaks this hour down into his famous 20 divided by 20 divided by 20 formula. The first 20 minutes, from 5:00 to 5:20, are dedicated to move. This means intense physical exercise that makes you sweat. This is crucial to do first, as it releases brain-derived neurotrophic factor for peak cognition, lowers cortisol, and releases dopamine and serotonin, immediately boosting your mood and focus. The next 20 minutes, from 5:20 to 5:40, are for reflect. This is a period of deep peace. Here you can meditate to cultivate inner calm, write in a journal to process your thoughts and practice gratitude, and review your plans for the day to create clarity and intention. The final 20 minutes, from 5:40 to 6:00, are for grow. This is when you dedicate yourself to learning. Read a book from a great mind, listen to an educational audiobook, or study a subject that will advance your mastery. Sharma's philosophy is that by dedicating this first hour to elevating what he calls your 4 interior empires, your mindset, heart set, health set, and soul set, you create an insurmountable competitive advantage, not just in your work, but in your overall happiness and fulfillment. It is a disciplined, world-class ritual for a world-class life. Your sacred rituals are the ultimate expression of self-love. They are the tangible proof of your commitment to your own growth and well-being. Consistency is far more important than intensity. A simple 20-minute ritual performed every single day is infinitely more powerful than a 3-hour ritual performed once a month. These practices become the bedrock of your existence, the stable foundation that allows you to build a life of extraordinary health, happiness, and holistic wealth. They are your non-negotiable daily investment in your own metaphysical fitness, and it is this foundation that will give you the strength, clarity, and resilience to navigate the inevitable challenges of life. For even with the most perfect rituals and the highest intentions, storms will come. The universe will test you. How we learn to perceive and engage with these challenges, how we find the wisdom within our adversity, is the ultimate test of our mastery. This brings us to the profound and empowering Stoic wisdom of seeing the obstacle as the way. With our sacred rituals in place, we build a powerful foundation of inner peace and high-frequency energy. We create a resilient core from which to engage with the world. But we must be careful not to fall into a common spiritual trap: the belief that if we are meditating enough, affirming enough, and aligning enough, our lives should become a smooth, problem-free paradise. This is a subtle fantasy of the ego. Life, by its very nature, is a force of growth. And growth does not happen in a state of perpetual comfort. It happens when we are challenged, when we are tested, when we are forced to reach beyond our current limits. Obstacles, setbacks, and adversity are not signs that you have done something wrong or that the universe is displeased with you. They are not punishments. They are promotions. They are the curriculum of your soul's evolution, the necessary friction required to polish you from a rough stone into a brilliant diamond. The great Stoic Emperor Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This is the profound secret we must now embrace. The obstacle is not blocking your path. The obstacle is your path. This requires a radical and courageous reframe of your entire relationship with adversity. The default human reaction when faced with a challenge, a lost job, a financial crisis, a health scare, a painful breakup, is to fall into a victim mentality. We ask, why is this happening to me? This question immediately places us in a position of powerlessness. It implies that we are a helpless target of a cruel or indifferent universe. This perspective breeds resentment, self-pity, and despair, all of which are low-frequency vibrations that only serve to attract more negative circumstances. The path of mastery requires that you discard this question forever and replace it with a new, infinitely more empowering one. Why is this happening for me? This is the great reframe. It is the conscious decision to view every single event in your life, especially the most difficult ones, as a custom-designed lesson from a loving and intelligent universe. It is seeing life not as your adversary, but as your personal trainer. The universe knows the exact spiritual muscle you need to strengthen, be it patience, courage, compassion, resilience, or forgiveness, and it lovingly provides you with the perfect weight to lift in order to build that strength. Nothing is random. Nothing is a punishment. Everything is medicine. Everything is a gift. When you can truly adopt this belief that life is always happening for you, fear loses its grip, and every challenge transforms from a terrifying threat into an intriguing opportunity for growth. With this new perspective as your foundation, you can learn the alchemical art of finding the gift hidden within every adversity. When an obstacle appears on your path, instead of reacting with fear or anger, you must train yourself to pause, take a breath, and ask a new set of clarifying questions. Instead of why me, you ask, what is this here to teach me? Perhaps the failure of a business is here to teach you humility and the importance of a better strategy. Perhaps a difficult relationship is here to teach you how to set boundaries and love yourself more. The lesson is always there if you are willing to look for it. The next question is, what strength is this challenge forcing me to develop? A sudden financial hardship may be forcing you to develop resourcefulness and creativity. A health challenge may be forcing you to develop discipline and a deeper appreciation for your body. The universe is not interested in your comfort, it is interested in your strength. The most powerful question you can ask is, how can I use this? This is the essence of Stoic philosophy. It is the understanding that while we cannot control the external event, we have absolute, sovereign power over our response to it. The obstacle itself becomes the raw material for us to practice virtue and demonstrate our character. A rude comment from another person is an opportunity to practice patience and compassion. A betrayal is an opportunity to practice the high art of forgiveness. A public failure is an opportunity to practice humility and courage. The obstacle is not in your way. It is an opportunity to show the universe and yourself who you have decided to be. It is the fire that forms the steel of your character. By asking these questions, you shift from a passive victim to an active alchemist, one who has the power to transmute the lead of any situation into the gold of wisdom and strength. This reframing also requires that we dismantle our cultural fear of failure. We have been taught that failure is the opposite of success. This is a lie. Failure is an essential, non-negotiable part of the process of success. There is no such thing as failure. There is only feedback. Every failed attempt is simply the universe giving you valuable data, showing you what doesn't work so you can move closer to what does. The legendary inventor Thomas Edison is the patron saint of this philosophy. When a journalist condescendingly asked him how it felt to have failed over 1,000 times to invent a viable light bulb, Edison's reported reply was revolutionary. "I didn't fail 1,000 times." He said, the light bulb was an invention with 1,001 steps. He did not see his previous attempts as failures. He saw them as successful discoveries of ways that would not work, each one bringing him closer to the final solution. The only true failure is the failure to learn, the failure to adapt, the failure to get back up. The only true failure is quitting. As long as you are willing to learn from the feedback the universe is giving you, you are always succeeding. In his modern classic on Stoicism, The Obstacle is the Way, author Ryan Holiday brings these ancient principles to life through powerful historical examples. He tells the story of a young John D. Rockefeller, who was just starting his career when the Great Economic Panic of 1857 hit. All around him, businesses collapsed, fortunes were wiped out, and experienced men were panicking. Chaos and fear ruled the day. But Rockefeller, instead of seeing the panic as a disaster, saw it as the ultimate education. He remained calm. He observed. He studied the mistakes others were making. He learned how markets behaved under extreme pressure. He did not just endure the crisis. He actively used it as his personal business school. He used the lessons learned in that chaos to build the principles that would eventually allow him to create one of the world's greatest fortunes. He embodied the Stoic creed: we don't control what happens, but we control how we respond. The obstacle, the financial panic, became the very way to his future success. He did not pray for the storm to end. He learned to sail in high winds. Therefore, the path of mastery is not about seeking a life free from problems. Such a life does not exist. And even if it did, it would be a recipe for stagnation and weakness. The goal is to become the kind of person who is strengthened by their problems. It is to cultivate such a deep and unwavering faith in the wisdom of the universe that you welcome challenges as your greatest teachers. Do not pray for lighter burdens, pray for a stronger back. Do not ask for the path to be cleared. Ask for the wisdom to find the opportunity within every obstacle. When you can genuinely look at any difficulty that enters your life and say, "Thank you. I know you are here for my growth. Show me the lesson." You have reached a profound level of spiritual maturity. As you develop this unshakable inner stability, this ability to remain centered and powerful no matter the external circumstances, you are no longer buffeted by the winds of fate. This resilience, this inner peace forged in the fires of adversity, is what ultimately allows you to access the supreme state of mastery. The practice that underpins all others, the art of living fully and powerfully in the eternal present moment. We have journeyed through the vast landscapes of the inner world, learning to heal our past and to transform obstacles into our greatest allies. We have cultivated a resilience of spirit that allows us to stand firm and centered, even amidst the storms of life. The very source of this resilience, the wellspring of all true power and peace, lies in the mastery of one final, profound, and deceptively simple practice: the art of living fully in the present moment. We have arrived at the understanding that the entire edifice of our past is nothing more than a collection of memories, traces of former present moments stored in the mind. The entire landscape of the future is nothing more than a fantasy, a projection of the mind. Neither the past nor the future has any inherent reality. They do not exist, except as thoughts. The only time there ever is, the only place where life has ever happened, is happening, or will ever happen, is right now. This eternal, indivisible moment is all there ever is. And the shocking and liberating truth is that all human suffering, without exception, is created by our own mind's resistance to what is. Right now, it is born from our compulsive need to escape the present moment by psychologically dwelling in a past that is gone or a future that has not yet come. To find peace, to access your true power, you must come home. You must escape the prison of psychological time and learn to inhabit the boundless freedom of the now. The egoic mind, by its very nature, cannot survive in the present moment. Its entire sense of identity is built upon the stories of the past and the anxieties about the future. And so, it works tirelessly to pull your consciousness away from the only point of power you have. It pulls you into the past through the mechanisms of guilt, regret, resentment, and grievance. You lie in bed at night and your mind begins to replay a mistake you made 10 years ago, forcing you to re-experience the feelings of shame and embarrassment. You have a conversation with someone, and your mind compulsively replays a past hurt, filtering their words through the lens of an old betrayal. You are not suffering from the event itself, which is over and done. You are suffering from your present moment thinking about the event. You are choosing, unconsciously, to keep the past alive by feeding it with the precious energy of your present moment attention. This is a profound form of self-inflicted violence, yet it is the baseline state for most of humanity. Simultaneously, the mind projects you into an imaginary future, creating the state we call anxiety. You have a presentation next week, and your mind begins to construct elaborate scenarios of failure and humiliation. You worry about your health, your finances, your children's future, all of which are abstract concepts that do not exist in this moment. This what-if thinking is a bottomless pit of self-created misery. It generates feelings of fear, stress, and tension, all in response to a situation that is purely a figment of your imagination. This addiction to what we can call psychological time is the primary source of all human neurosis. It is crucial to distinguish this from clock time. Clock time is the practical aspect of time we use to set appointments, learn from past mistakes, and set goals for the future. It is a useful tool. Psychological time is the disease of compulsively living in the past and future in your mind, thereby missing the only thing that is ever real, your life, which is always now. To escape this prison is the great liberation. To enter the now is to awaken from the dream of thought. When your attention is no longer fragmented between past regrets and future anxieties, but is instead fully concentrated on the present moment, a profound shift occurs in your consciousness. A deep sense of peace arises, a peace that is not dependent on your external circumstances being good. It is the peace that surpasses all understanding, the peace of simply being. Your sensory perception becomes heightened. Colors may seem brighter, sounds more crisp, the world around you more alive and vibrant, because you are no longer seeing it through the dulling filter of constant thought. All of your power, all of your life force, becomes available to you in this moment. You are no longer leaking energy into things that do not exist. You are fully present, fully alive, fully powerful. It is from this state of presence that all true creativity, all brilliant solutions, and all inspired actions arise. This state is not some lofty goal for enlightened masters. It is your natural state, and you can access it right now with simple, practical technique. These are your anchors to the now. The first and most powerful anchor is your breath. Your breath is always happening in the present moment. You cannot take a breath yesterday, and you cannot take a breath tomorrow. To bring your attention to your breath is to instantly bring your attention into the now. You don't need to change your breathing. Simply feel the sensation of the air entering your nostrils, filling your lungs, and then leaving your body. When your mind wanders, as it will, gently guide it back to the sensation of the breath. This is a powerful meditation that can be practiced anywhere, at any time, to pull you out of anxious thinking and into your body. The second anchor is your senses. Engage fully with your sensory experience of this moment. What do you see right now? Without putting a mental label on it, notice the play of light and shadow, the different shapes and colors. What do you hear? Listen to the symphony of sounds around you, from the most distant to the closest, without judging them as pleasant or unpleasant. What do you feel? Feel the sensation of the air on your skin, the feeling of your clothes, the pressure of the chair beneath you. By immersing yourself in your senses, you pull your consciousness out of the abstract world of thought and ground it in the tangible reality of the present. A third, and profoundly effective, anchor is what Eckhart Tolle calls the inner body. This is the practice of feeling the life force, the subtle energy field that permeates your entire body. Close your eyes for a moment and bring your attention to your hands. Can you feel a faint tingling, a sense of aliveness within them, without having to move them. Now, see if you can feel that same aliveness in your feet, your legs, your arms, your chest. By feeling this inner energy field, you are inhabiting your body on a deeper level. This practice is a powerful anchor to the now, because your inner body exists only in this moment. When you are rooted in the feeling of your inner body, it becomes much more difficult for the mind to pull you away into its stories of past and future. It brings you home to the temple of your own physical being. In his seminal audiobook, The Power of Now, Eckhart Tolle introduces the concept of the pain body and reveals how presence is the ultimate key to its dissolution. He describes the pain body as a semi-autonomous energy field living within us, composed of the accumulated emotional pain from our entire life that we were not able to fully process and release. This old energy entity lies dormant for periods, but then gets triggered by an event or a thought. When it awakens, it takes over our being. It feeds on more negativity. It creates drama and conflict in our relationships so it can feed on that emotional energy. It forces us to think negative, self-pitying thoughts, and we become completely identified with its unhappiness. Tolle's solution is profoundly simple. When you feel the pain body beginning to rise, you do not fight it. You do not resist it. And you certainly do not identify with it. You simply bring the light of your conscious awareness to it. You observe the heavy, negative feeling within you with a kind of detached curiosity. You become the silent witness. You feel the emotion in your body without letting it rise into your head and become a story. The pain body is an entity of darkness. It cannot survive in the light of your conscious presence. By shining the light of your witnessing awareness upon it, you cut off its food supply, and it begins to dissolve. This is the ultimate alchemy of presence. Its light transmutes the deepest suffering into peace. The past is a memory trace, and the future is a mental projection. The only place you will ever find your life is in the now. This is where your power lies. This is where your peace resides. This is where you connect with the infinite, creative intelligence of the universe. To awaken is to realize that your entire life is, and only ever will be, a series of present moments. As you master this art of living in the now, as you learn to use adversity as a teacher and apply the universal laws of creation, your own being begins to radiate a new quality. You are no longer just a student learning these principles. You are becoming a living embodiment of them. And your very presence, your state of being, starts to have a profound and positive effect on the world and the people around you. This is the final stage of this magnificent journey, the transition from a master of your own life to a lighthouse for all. We have journeyed together through the deepest corridors of the mind, from the silent architect of the subconscious to the vibrant power of the present moment. We have learned to heal our past, to command our focus, to align with our purpose, and to see the wisdom in our challenges. Now, we arrive at the final destination of our inner pilgrimage, a destination that is not a destination at all, but a new way of being. This is the culmination of all our work, the point where the student who has been diligently practicing the techniques graduates into the master, who has become the living embodiment of the principles. This is the sacred transition from doing to being. This is the moment you cease your striving and simply become the lighthouse. Throughout this journey, we have explored many powerful tools and techniques: affirmations, visualizations, gratitude journals, sacred rituals. In the beginning, these practices require conscious effort and discipline. We must remind ourselves to do them. We must carve out time, focus our will, and consciously choose to shift our thoughts and feelings. This is the necessary stage of the conscious creator, the student learning the craft. But as you persist, as you integrate these practices into the very fabric of your life, a miraculous transformation occurs. You reach a point where you no longer need to do the techniques, because you have become the energy behind them. You no longer need to repeat affirmations of abundance, because your natural, spontaneous thought process is one of seeing abundance and opportunity everywhere. You no longer need to schedule time for visualization, because you naturally see the world through a lens of beauty, potential, and success. Gratitude is no longer a list you write in a journal. It is the very air you breathe, the automatic response of your heart to the gift of existence. The techniques have done their work. They have rewired your brain, reprogrammed your subconscious, and elevated your baseline frequency. You have moved from conscious competence, where you have to think about what you are doing, to unconscious competence, where mastery flows through you, effortlessly and naturally. This is the state of the lighthouse. Consider its nature. The lighthouse does not run up and down the coastline, frantically searching for ships that are lost in the fog. It does not shout instructions across the waves or grow anxious about the impending storm. It does not feel a desperate need to save every vessel. To do so would be to abandon its post and its power. The lighthouse has only one single, powerful function: to stand firmly rooted on its foundation, to remain stable and strong through any weather, and to diligently tend to its own inner light, so that it may shine as brightly as possible. Its service to the world is not in its frantic action, but in its unwavering presence. By simply being itself a steady, brilliant, and reliable source of light, it empowers all the ships in its vicinity to find their own way. The captains of those ships see the light. They orient their own compass to it, and they navigate themselves safely to shore. The lighthouse does not save them. It provides the reference point by which they can save themselves. This is who you become as you master your own inner world. Your primary purpose, your greatest service to humanity, shifts. It is no longer about trying to fix, change, convince, or save anyone else. You realize the futility of such efforts. Your sole responsibility is to tend to your own inner light. It is to maintain your own peace, to cultivate your own joy, to protect your own high vibrational state. Your very presence becomes your gift to the world. When you walk into a room, your state of inner peace and coherence emits a powerful, resonant frequency that can calm the anxiety in others without you uttering a single word. Your unwavering belief in possibility and abundance can silently inspire hope in those who are mired in despair. Your authentic joy becomes a form of permission for others to access their own. You don't have to preach the principles of metaphysics. You become a living demonstration of their power. Your energy becomes your sermon. Your life becomes your message. This is the ultimate form of service: to become such a clear and powerful beacon of light that you inspire others to remember the light within themselves. In this state of being, the frantic search comes to a peaceful end. The part of the ego that is always seeking, always hungry for the next book, the next guru, the next workshop, the next secret that will finally make it feel whole, simply relaxes and dissolves. You realize, with a profound and bone-deep certainty, that everything you were ever looking for outside of yourself was, and has always been, within you. The unconditional love you craved from others, you now generate for yourself. The security you sought in money or status, you now find in your unbreakable connection to the infinite universe. The validation you wanted from the world, you now receive from your own soul's approval. It is a profound homecoming. The seeking stops because you have finally found the seeker. You realize that you were never broken, never lacking, never separate. You were simply a master who had temporarily forgotten their own mastery. A divine being who had fallen asleep and was dreaming they were a limited human. From this place of wholeness, your entire perspective on life shifts one final time. It is no longer seen as a serious problem to be solved, a dangerous trial to be endured, or a difficult test to be passed. You see life for what it truly is: a beautiful, magnificent, and divine game. You, an infinite, eternal expression of universal consciousness, have chosen to enter this playground of time and space, to wear the costume of a human being, and to temporarily forget your own divinity, so that you may have the thrilling adventure of remembering it. From this playful perspective, the problems and obstacles of life are no longer sources of fear. They are seen for what they are: interesting challenges within the game, designed to make it more engaging and to call forth your creativity and power. You play the game with passion, with zest, and with full commitment. You build, you create, you love, you strive for your goals, but you hold it all with a certain lightness. You are not desperately attached to the outcomes, because you know that your true self, your core being, is beyond any win or loss. You are already whole, already safe, and already eternal. This brings a divine sense of playfulness to everything you do. This state of being, the integrated master, the unwavering lighthouse, the joyful player of the divine game, is the culmination of the journey we have undertaken together. It is the peak we have climbed, moving from the foundational understanding of the subconscious mind, through the arts of focus, feeling, and forgiveness, to the ultimate realization of our own divine nature. It is the fulfillment of the promise that by mastering the universe within, you inevitably become the master of the universe without. You have learned the hidden metaphysics of the mind, not as a theory, but as a lived, breathed reality. You have become the creator you were always meant to be. And so, our journey through the hidden metaphysics of the mind comes to a close. We have traveled together from the deepest, silent chambers of the subconscious mind to the highest, most radiant peaks of conscious creation. We began by uncovering the unseen architect within, and learned that our reality is but a mirror of our deepest beliefs. We explored the vibrational nature of the universe, discovering that our thoughts and feelings are the broadcast that shapes our world. We have honed the art of focus, learned to speak the creative language of affirmation, and unlocked the ultimate secret that it is our feeling state that commands the cosmos. We have journeyed back in time to heal the wounds of the past, cutting the anchored chains of resentment and limiting beliefs. We learned to see our obstacles not as roadblocks, but as the very path itself, finding strength in our challenges and wisdom in our adversity. We have practiced the supreme art of living in the eternal now. And finally, we have arrived at the understanding of our true nature, that of the unwavering lighthouse, the master creator whose very presence can illuminate the world. This has not been a journey of mere information, but an invitation to profound transformation. If there is one single, luminous truth to take with you from our time together, let it be this: you are the author, the artist, and the architect of your life. The universe is not some distant, separate entity that you must petition and beg for blessings. The universe is within you, the power that creates worlds, that wheels the galaxies and ignites the stars, is the very same power that is coursing through you at this very moment. Therefore, peace, abundance, joy, and love are not destinations you must struggle to reach. They are not rewards to be earned after a lifetime of effort. They are your birthright. They are states of being, frequencies of consciousness that you can choose to embody right here, right now. The great work is not to chase after the life you want, but to become the person who is a natural, vibrational match for the life you desire. You are not a victim of your circumstances. You are the creator of them. This is your power. This is your freedom. Now, the journey of listening ends, and the journey of living begins. This knowledge, without application, is merely a pleasant diversion. It's true. World-altering magic is only unlocked when you choose to live it. Do not feel overwhelmed by the wealth of information we have explored. You do not need to implement everything at once. Simply choose one thing. What was the one idea, the one principle, the one practice that resonated most deeply with your soul? Was it the power of gratitude, the practice of feeling the wish fulfilled, the art of asking, how would my future self handle this? Or the simple, profound act of returning your awareness to your breath? Whatever it is, make a sacred promise to yourself to focus on that one practice for the next 24 hours. Put down the book, turn off the screen, and become the living experiment. For in the application of this wisdom, you will discover a power within you that is greater than any challenge, a peace that is deeper than any fear, and a love that is the very fabric of the universe itself. The key to your magnificent reality is in your hand. Your journey is not over. It has just begun.